Welcome to Wife Cheating Story. I hope you have an enjoyable and relaxing time listening. Let's get started.
"Connor," she gasped, eyes darting to the wine glasses on the counter, two, not one. I can explain." I stared at her, at the faint trace of cologne clinging to her blouse, one that wasn't mine. The air between us was thick, suffocating. "Go ahead, Lydia," I said, voice steady but cold. "Explain the 20 grand missing from our account. Explain the locked phone. Explain why my wife smells like another man." Her lips parted, but no words came. The silence was louder than any confession. And in that moment, I knew she was guilty. And she had no idea what was coming next. Before we dive into the full story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And if you're enjoying this tale, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. I used to think my life was straightforward. I had a secure position as the head of Summit Security Solutions, a thriving marriage, at least I believed it was thriving, and one bright teenage daughter, Quinn, who seemed to be carrying both her mother's creative flair and my more calculated leanings. Now that I reflect, I suspect Lydia was never truly content. But that's the thing about illusions. They feel so solid until the first crack appears. That crack, in my case, was a single bank statement. I was sitting at my home office desk late on a Monday evening, flipping through some monthly statements with a lukewarm mug of coffee by my elbow. That coffee had gone cold long before I noticed the anomaly. A $20,000 withdrawal not from the standard home improvement pot or the usual credit card expenses. No, it was from a secondary joint savings Lydia and I had set up 5 or 6 years back for emergency vacations or unforeseen home repairs. I must have reread that line item 5 times, assuming I misread it. "Lydia wouldn't make a move like this behind my back," I said under my breath. "She'd mention it at least, right?" But her name was right there, an electronic signature for the withdrawal. In my line of work, I've learned not to jump to conclusions over a single data point. People make mistakes. Maybe there was an urgent reason. Maybe some distant cousin needed bail money. Or maybe Lydia decided to remodel part of the house as a surprise. Unlikely, but I considered every angle. I set the papers aside, a slow, distracting pulse now hammering in my temple. I glanced at my phone. Lydia had texted me earlier, saying she'd be working late at a marketing expo. Something about a new product launch for one of her clients. Normally, I'd have no reason to doubt her. She'd say, "It's just a hectic season in marketing," and I'd never blink. And maybe it was. But that single, unaccounted-for withdrawal was enough to nudge me from complacency into curiosity. "Keep calm," I told myself. I built a security empire on the notion of composure. This is no time to lose it. I walked out of my office and around the quiet house, noticing how still everything felt. Quinn was in her room, presumably studying or watching one of those comedic web series she loved. The living room was tidy. No sign of Lydia's usual presence. She had a habit of scattering her open laptop, a half-eaten protein bar, and notepads. Instead, the surfaces were immaculate, almost too pristine. I tried to reassure myself that maybe she'd been tidying up while I was immersed in work. But an unsettling question crept in. When was the last time I saw her actually comfortable around here? I heard footsteps at the top of the stairs. Quinn peeked over the banister, her eyes holding a cautious glint. She looked a little hesitant, and I realized I was just standing in the living room, staring at nothing. "Dad?" Quinn asked. "Everything okay?" I forced a smile. "All good. Just house is quiet without your mom. You hungry?" She shook her head. "I had dinner earlier. Mom said she was going to be out late, so I ordered pizza." "You and your pizzas?" I raised my eyebrows. "You'll turn into a pepperoni slice one of these days." Quinn laughed politely but didn't move. She was waiting. I recognized that posture. She'd stand there with one foot behind the other, a little weight forward, any time she had more to say. So I invited her. "You want to talk about something? Or need help with homework?" "Well," she murmured, biting her lip, "it's about Mom." She paused, unsure. My pulse quickened. My mind jumped to that unauthorized withdrawal, the unspoken questions already swirling. "Go on." I walked into her studio earlier, maybe half an hour before you got home, she said, looking at the floor. She was on her phone, and when she saw me, she flipped the screen away real fast, almost dropped it. I apologized for interrupting, but she looked nervous. That last word hung in the air. Nervous how? I don't know. Like she was startled, or like she was doing something she shouldn't. Quinn swallowed. Then she said she'd be back soon and walked out to the car, drove off. Didn't say goodbye. She wouldn't let me see the phone. I nodded, doing my best to keep my expression neutral. Could be a delicate work call. Might be private client data or something. She handles marketing for some big names, right? Quinn shrugged. Yeah, sure. I got a weird vibe, Dad. Figured I'd say something. I patted her shoulder softly. Thank you. In that moment, I understood that if Lydia was indeed hiding something, our daughter could become collateral damage. I inwardly vowed not to let that happen. Let me be absolutely clear. At that point, I wasn't ready to label Lydia a liar or an adulterer. Cheating was such an ugly word, something that happened in cheap tabloids or in my clients' more scandalous investigations, not in my own home. But the pieces were shifting out of place. So many small hints of discrepancy. That was the moment I decided to watch. Quietly, methodically. The same way I'd conduct a security audit or a corporate infiltration check. I'd gather facts, keep them under the radar, and see if patterns emerged. Because if Lydia had secrets, and that was a big if I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. The night wore on. I sank into the recliner in our living room, flipping channels mindlessly, not really absorbing anything on the screen. Quinn eventually disappeared back upstairs. I kept half an ear open for the sound of the garage door or Lydia's car in the driveway. My mind flickered to that $20,000 again. What the hell was she doing with that money? She'd never been extravagant, aside from her taste in handbags or organic skincare. 20 grand was major. So if she hadn't told me, that suggested either it was a stupid mistake she was too ashamed to own up to, or someone else was involved. I forced down that last notion, someone else. Another man. That scenario had always seemed unthinkable. But so did a secret withdrawal. So did ignoring her own daughter in the studio. So did working late, frequently, especially on nights that didn't align with any marketing events I'd heard her mention. The doubt wormed deeper. Then, an hour past midnight, the front door opened. Lydia slipped in, clearly not expecting to see me on the couch. She wore a business-casual blazer but had it slung over her arm, and there was a faint trace of cologne in the air, one that wasn't mine. I recognized men's aftershave undertones, something musky that didn't quite align with the marketing expos and polite handshakes. She froze just for an instant. "Connor," she said, forcing a bright tone that felt off. "You're up late." I flicked the TV off. Missed my flight to Chicago, storms apparently, so I came home early. Her face momentarily tightened. Oh, right. I offered an easy grin, or tried to. Long day at the expo? She shrugged, stepping out of her heels. Brutal day. Then the client insisted on, dinner, drinks, the usual schmoozing. I'm exhausted. With that, she leaned in and planted a fleeting kiss on my cheek, swiftly pulling back before I could reciprocate. She disappeared upstairs to the bedroom. I noted the subtle dampness in her hair. Where had she showered? Because the texture was not the usual "I just got rained on" look. Could have been at some high-end hotel spa or a gym. I told myself I'd get real answers soon. The next day, I quietly retrieved the phone records for our family plan. I had admin access side perk of operating a security firm. Unknown number repeated many nights, typically around 10 o'clock or 11 p.m., not conclusive, but suspicious. At that juncture, I still prayed it was a misunderstanding. That changed when I started noticing other charges, spa appointments, out-of-the-way restaurants I'd never heard of. She didn't mention them. Quinn didn't go with her. So who? I told Quinn not to worry, that I was handling some financial irregularities. She gave me an inquisitive look, but I reassured her everything was under control. I can't let my daughter become a casualty of Lydia's secrets, I thought. Then came the 2 wine glasses. That next day was a Tuesday, and I was scheduled to fly out for a short business trip. I made it to the airport, checked in, then storms canceled the flight. All flights, actually, for the next few hours. So I grabbed my bag, hopped in a cab back home. I expected the house to be empty if Lydia was at work. But the second I opened the front door, I smelled something wine. Sure enough, the kitchen had 2 half-full glasses on the island, remnants of a red blend that Lydia rarely drank. She'd prefer a crisp white, and there was a faint trace of cologne in the air again. Not mine. I checked the living room, the hallway, the bedroom. No one was there. A new possibility crept up my spine like a cold shiver. Maybe whoever had shared that wine had left moments before, or an hour. This was the first time my heart pounded with a real sense of betrayal. The leftover wine, the hush in the house, the hush that might hide 1,000 secrets. I left everything as it was, tiptoeing around the glasses. I wanted to see if Lydia might come racing back to clean up evidence. But time passed. The wine sat. My phone rang my assistant at Summit Security, letting me know the flight was rescheduled for the next morning. I pretended to be calm, told her I'd handle it, but my mind was already planning. Could it be so straightforward that Lydia was entertaining someone here in my own house? Sitting alone on the couch, I felt the first surge of real anger. You'd think, as a man who built a career on neutralizing threats, that I'd remain detached, but this was personal, cutting deeper than any corporate sabotage. So I waited. Waited until Quinn got home from an after-school club. Waited until Lydia texted me from the office, saying she'd be late again. "Big campaign," she typed. Big campaign, more like big lie. I wanted to scream at her through the phone, demand an explanation, but I reined myself in. I had a feeling that if I confronted her now, she'd just bury the truth deeper, and I didn't want to give her that chance. This betrayal, or suspected betrayal, wasn't just about me. Quinn was old enough to sense the tension. My entire household, my entire sense of stability hung in the balance. I returned to the kitchen, poured out the wine, and cleaned the glasses meticulously. No emotion on my face. The house smelled of bleach afterward. Maybe a part of me was trying to cleanse more than the counters. That night, Lydia came home really late, maybe midnight. Hair damp again, and that faint cologne. She jumped at finding me awake, flipping through a magazine in the living room as if I had nothing better to do. She stammered an excuse about an after-party that ran over time. I nodded, said nothing. But I thought, one day soon you'll run out of excuses. Over breakfast the following morning, Quinn hovered near the coffee maker, eyes shifting from me to the empty seat Lydia usually occupied. The place was set, but Lydia was a no-show. She left for work early, I explained, tapping the coffee mug on the granite counter. Said she had an urgent meeting. I heard the dryness in my tone. Quinn, for her part, caught it too. She drummed her fingers on the counter, quiet, then sat down with a piece of toast. She stared at me, waiting. I realized she might be wondering if I was the one who'd done something wrong, maybe we were fighting. So I gave her a half-smile I didn't fully feel. "Dad," she said, her voice low, "I don't want to pry, but are you and Mom okay?" I sipped coffee. "We will be..." "But something is off?" I set my mug down, gave her a direct look. "Quinn, your mother is going through some changes. I'm not sure what she wants or if it's just job stress, but I promise you I'll handle it. You trust me?" Her shoulders slumped, tension slipping out. "Of course I do. I just hate not knowing what's happening." I offered a gentle pat on her arm. "When I figure it out, I'll let you know, okay?" She nodded, biting back any further questions. Then she grabbed her backpack and left for school. I was left alone, seething at Lydia's repeated vanishings. But in the next moment, my phone buzzed. Unknown caller. Usually I'd ignore it, but something told me this was relevant. I picked up. The line was silent for half a beat, then a click as if someone ended the call. I stood there, lips tight. Another piece of the puzzle. Was it a misdial, or was it Felix, or a colleague of his? I had a flight to catch in a few hours, my rescheduled trip to Chicago. But my priority had shifted drastically. I texted my old friend, Willis Carter. If there was anyone I trusted to discreetly investigate a matter so personal, it was Willis. We served side by side in the Army. He'd seen me at my best and my worst, and never once had he broken my trust. So I shot him a message. "Need your help on a private matter. Swing by if you can." He replied almost instantly. 3 hours later, I was in my home office with the blinds drawn. Willis, leaning against a bookshelf, asked questions in a low voice while I recounted the suspicious activity. The missing 20 grand, the spa receipts, the wine glasses. I'm not trying to blow up my marriage on a hunch, I told him, quiet fury bubbling up. But I can't just ignore all these signals. Willis folded his arms, expression sympathetic. Connor, you know me, I'll handle this as delicately as possible. But if something's going on, we'll find out. Later that day, Lydia breezed in around dinner time, wearing a crisp blouse and slacks that looked suspiciously new. She walked up, gave me a perfunctory kiss on the cheek, then busied herself rummaging in the fridge. I forced a neutral tone. Long day, honey? She paused, rummaging. Yeah, sorry, the expo was insane. So many potential advertisers and cross-promotions, it's exhausting. I studied her posture. She was turned away as if reluctant to meet my eyes. Usually, Lydia was far from shy about describing her day. She'd stand there detailing clients and pitches. Now she seemed anxious, almost robotic. Hey, I noticed you took that money out of the joint emergency fund, I said casually. You planning a surprise trip, or? Her shoulders stiffened. Then she shut the fridge door, feigning a casual shrug. Oh, that. It was for some marketing research, actually. A friend needed a short-term infusion to secure a venue or something. I'll pay it back. Sorry, I should have told you. A friend? That was the best explanation she could give? Which friend? Just a colleague. None you'd know. She gave me a rehearsed smile. It's all good, babe. I nodded slowly, but a voice in my head screamed, You liar. However, outwardly, I gave her no reason to suspect I was investigating. She assumed I'd accept the half-baked excuse. Dinner was tense. Quinn tried to lighten the mood, talking about a new club she'd joined at school, some coding hackathon. Lydia nodded politely but was obviously distracted. Her phone vibrated once. She sneaked a glance under the table and then paled, ignoring it afterward. I didn't say a word, just recorded that image in my mind. She was spooked by something or someone. That night she insisted on turning in early. I let her go upstairs first. Then I snagged her phone from the entryway table. She'd left it for a moment. Tapping the screen to see the caller ID, I found it was locked, of course, but the notifications flickered. Felix, call me, urgent. My stomach did a slow roll. That name again. I gently set the phone back where it was, heart pounding. This time, suspicion was overshadowed by a low anger. Who is Felix to my wife? Rather than storming upstairs and demanding answers, I stepped outside to the porch, phone in hand, and dialed Willis. He picked up after 2 rings. It's me, I said, voice taut. I've got a name, Felix. He's messaging her tonight, telling her to call him urgently. She's lying about the money. She's lying about everything, man. Willis didn't skip a beat. Send me any details you have. I'll run him through the usual channels. We'll see what surfaces. I ended the call, leaning on the porch rail. The night air was cool, but I felt overheated. My mind leapt to the worst-case scenario, an affair, a thorough betrayal of trust. Yet I tried to keep it methodical. Focus on evidence, Connor, because one misstep could blow the entire operation, if you can call it that. I needed clarity. I will protect Quinn. I will protect what I built. If Lydia wanted to sabotage our life, I'd ensure the fallout is contained. That's not some dramatic line from a movie, it's simply what I do. Mitigate threats. The difference this time is that the threat is the woman I once loved wholeheartedly. As I finally climbed into bed, Lydia was rolled away from me, phone presumably under her pillow, locked or in silent mode. I stared at the ceiling, thinking, she's right there, physically, but galaxies away. Could I fix it? Possibly. If it was just a fling, maybe she'd drop it if cornered. If it was a financial scheme, I could handle that too. But my gut told me it was bigger, that this was a betrayal she'd planned for months. That lonely feeling made me resolute. I turned to face her sleeping form. You have no idea what's coming, I whispered silently, more to myself. I flicked off the lamp. My life was about to change forever, though at that point I had no clue how deep the rabbit hole would go. Still, I was determined not to be the unsuspecting victim. Let Lydia enjoy her illusions for a moment longer. In time, I would find the truth. Then I'd decide how far I was willing to go to reclaim my sense of honor. I woke up the next morning with a faint, unshakable tension in my chest. Lydia acted distant all through breakfast, scrolling on her phone with an unreadable expression. Quinn left early for school, probably to avoid the awkward vibe. At about 10 in the morning, Willis showed up at the door in a casual leather jacket, baseball cap turned backward. He looked more like an old buddy visiting for a beer, which was exactly the image we wanted to project to any possible watchers. I opened the door wide, forced a relaxed grin. "Dude, about time," I teased loud enough for any passersby to hear. "You said you'd bring me a coffee." He patted his pockets with mock helplessness. "I forgot. My bad. Got some top-shelf intel, though." I ushered him inside. Lydia was supposedly at her marketing job, so the house was ours to speak freely in. We retreated to my office, a snug space lined with file cabinets and softly glowing monitors. I closed the door behind us, drew the blinds. Willis's face turned all business. "So fill me in on the newest details." I gave him the rundown, the repeated phone calls from unknown, the bank statement, the 2 wine glasses, my accidental return from the canceled flight, the spa receipts, the repeated mention of Felix in her messages. Willis listened, occasionally taking notes on a small notepad. I watched him, feeling an odd pang in my gut. This was the first time I'd ever brought such a personal matter to him. Usually, we worked side by side on corporate security breaches or infiltration tests for Summit's big clients. Now my private life was a crime scene, in a sense. "Let me guess," he said, flipping a page. "She's locked her phone with a passcode you don't know, right?" I nodded. "Yes, but Quinn told me something interesting. The phone lights up with calls late at night. Lydia goes off into the other room. She thinks Mom is hiding something." Willis tapped his pen. "Felix Monroe. Let's start there. Could be an alias or maybe he's legit. I'll run an initial background check. If we discover he's a personal trainer, real identity or gym affiliation, we can cross-reference that with known addresses, financial records." I found it surreal, hearing my best friend talk about investigating my wife. Yet I forced down any emotion, reminding myself I needed the truth, no matter how ugly. "Be discreet," I said, my voice husky. "She can't know we're onto her." He nodded. "If she's covering her tracks, it means there's definitely something to hide. We'll dig it up. That's what we do." We stood there a moment in silence, the tension heavy. Finally, Willis, who rarely got personal, placed a hand on my shoulder. "Connor, if this is what we suspect, you know I've got your back. Whatever you decide to do with the intel, it's your call. I won't judge." I swallowed. "Thank you." Within 48 hours, Willis called me with the basics. Felix Monroe is listed as a personal trainer at Axiom Performance, a private gym known for wealthy clientele. Several rumors about him hooking up with married women, though nothing on record. He's also got a couple of shady financial dealings in the past, some alleged lawsuit from an ex-wife that was dropped under suspicious circumstances. My knuckles whitened as I gripped the phone. "So he's done this before?" Willis exhaled. "Likely. There's a pattern, according to my sources. Felix gets real cozy with well-off female clients, maybe persuades them to shift money around for investments or joint business ventures. Some husbands never catch on until it's too late. Are you sure Lydia is just hooking up with him, or could it be bigger, like a scam?" I stared out my home office window. Possibly both. She's withdrawn large sums, paid for spa packages, fancy dinners, who knows what else. If they're funneling money, that's next-level betrayal. I let that sink in. My mind conjured images of Lydia and Felix sneaking around, forging signatures, or maybe just having that adrenaline rush of an affair. The anger simmered in my gut, but I kept calm. I built an empire on controlling my emotions. This is no different. Willis's quiet voice broke my reverie. "We can gather concrete proof if you want to be sure. We can put a GPS tracker on Felix's car, see if he meets other clients. We can set up a small surveillance on Lydia's phone. But if she's locked it, I'm the admin on our family's phone plan," I said. "I might be able to see some call logs, text usage, but I want deeper, keylogging maybe." Willis chuckled darkly. "You know the legalities. She's your wife, so it's a gray area. But as your friend, I can't say no. Might be best if I handle that portion discreetly." My lips tightened. "I'm done letting her lie to me. Let's do it. The second we have enough evidence, I'll confront her. The only reason I'm not doing it now is because I need the full scope. If this is a big con, I want to know every angle." Roger that. We hung up. For a moment, I stood alone in my office, adrenaline thrumming in my veins. So, it's real, I thought. Lydia's having an affair with a professional con man. At dinner that evening, Lydia repeated how tired she was from projects. Quinn and I exchanged glances. Quinn seemed on the verge of tears, but Lydia was either oblivious or too wrapped up in her own lies. She barely picked at her salad, checking her phone every few minutes. Each time it buzzed, she flinched. "Something going on?" I asked lightly. She forced a grin. "Just a tough client, you know. They can't finalize the design specs for their marketing campaign. I might have to do an emergency meeting tonight." Quinn shot me a look. "Again?" that look said. I shrugged. "Do what you have to do." But inside, I was seething. "Just keep lying, Lydia. You'll slip up soon enough." The next morning, Quinn approached me before school. She was wearing her favorite hoodie, one covered in random programming logos. She looked nervous but determined. "Dad, can I talk to you privately?" We stepped into the kitchen, away from Lydia's earshot, although Lydia had left earlier, claiming a pre-dawn conference call. I wondered if that call was with Felix. Anger twisted in my stomach, but I tried focusing on Quinn. "Yeah, honey, what's up?" I asked. She hesitated, then held out her phone, thumb tapping rapidly. I might have done something sneaky, but I was worried. I saw Mom's phone lying around last night, so I installed a small script to clone her texts to a hidden folder on my phone. I know it's probably illegal or unethical, but I was scared she was in trouble. I blinked. Even as a father, I had to admire Quinn's cunning. She was only 17, but had some real tech chops. This was exactly the kind of method I was about to use myself or have Willis orchestrate. Quinn, out of desperation, had already done it. "Are you sure you want to be involved in this?" I asked gently. "It might get ugly." She squared her shoulders. "I deserve to know if Mom's tearing the family apart. I read a few messages before bed. It's not good." I swallowed hard. "Show me." Quinn opened an app that displayed cloned messages. I braced myself as she scrolled to a conversation labeled Felix. My heart pounded with each line I scanned. Felix, 9:56 p.m. "We can't keep meeting at the same place." Connor is too suspicious. Lydia, 9:58 p.m. "I know, but I need more time to get the funds." "We'll figure it out." Felix, 10:01 p.m. "Be sure it's at least 50K or more, and ditch any receipts." Lydia, 10:02 p.m. "Yes, but can we talk tomorrow? I'm anxious about him." I let out a slow breath. It was even worse than I imagined. Not just an affair, there was collusion to extract money from me. Possibly my entire business if they were bold enough. I looked at Quinn, whose face was drawn, eyes shining with hurt. "Dad?" I placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're right. This is not good. But you did the right thing telling me." She blinked back tears. "Are you going to confront her?" "Not yet," I said softly. "But soon. I need more evidence for a plan. Thank you, Quinn. We'll keep this between us, okay?" She nodded, clearly relieved to have me acknowledge it. Then she left for school, leaving me alone with a roiling mix of fury, heartbreak, and cold determination. I typed a quick message to Willis, summarizing Quinn's find. He called back seconds later, voice grim. "That's some solid proof, man. I can cross-check the timeline with Felix's whereabouts. We can corner them both if you want." I rubbed my jaw, thinking, I want to see how far Lydia intends to go. If they're aiming for 50K or more, they might make bigger moves soon. Let's let them dig deeper, then pull the rug out from under them. I want no wiggle room for denial. Willis understood. I'll keep building the file on Felix's old addresses, known associates, anything that can give us an edge. My chest felt tight, but I forced a measured calm. Wait and watch. Wait and watch. That's all I could do for now. A day later, I decided to do something bold. I'd pay a visit to Axiom Performance under the guise of seeking a new trainer for a corporate health initiative. Sure, I had no real desire to start a personal training routine, but it was the only straightforward way to see Felix in person. The gym was discreetly fancy. Tinted glass windows, minimalist signage, an interior that smelled of expensive disinfectant and rubber. Attractive staff with perfect posture manned the reception. A young woman in tight black workout gear greeted me. Welcome to Axiom Performance. Do you have an appointment? Not exactly, I said with a practiced smile. Name's Connor Green. I'm scouting personal trainers for a corporate wellness program. Thought I'd check out the facility. She nodded enthusiastically. Of course. Our head trainer is in the middle of a session, but we can schedule a tour. Actually, I was hoping to speak with a trainer named Felix. I heard he's top-notch. Her eyes flickered in recognition, but she quickly masked it. Felix is currently with a client. Maybe you can have a quick chat once he's done? That'd be great, I said, surveying the layout behind her. Rows of treadmills, weight machines, a private training area with glass walls. Through one of those glass panels, I spotted a figure that could be Felix, tall, well-built, guiding a middle-aged woman through squats. He wore a black shirt stretched over broad shoulders, hair styled meticulously. He exuded confidence, but from my vantage, he also seemed hyper-aware of everything around him. 10 minutes later, he finished his session and came out. The receptionist called him over. Felix, this is Mr. Green. He's exploring corporate training programs. He offered me a bright, professional smile. Nice to meet you, Mr. Green. I'm Felix Monroe. I shook his hand, noting the firm, practiced grip. Thanks for taking a moment. I run Summit Security Solutions, and we're thinking about offering personal training to some of our top executives. Heard you're one of the best. The corners of his eyes crinkled with a well-practiced modesty. That's flattering. I do specialize in tailored programs for high-end clientele. We focus on individual goals, strength, endurance, even posture correction. Are you looking for group sessions or one-on-one? He rattled on, sounding polished. I played along, feigning interest, all the while sizing him up. This was the man who'd coaxed my wife to funnel thousands of dollars behind my back. He looked almost harmless up close, just another athletic pretty boy with a cocky grin. Yet I reminded myself he was a professional scammer, a seducer, a threat. I glanced at the name embroidered on his shirt. Felix. This place is impressive, I commented, eyeing the machines. So you must see a lot of busy professionals in here, right? Doctors, lawyers, maybe even marketing experts? Felix gave a polished laugh. We do, yes. Marketing folks are definitely big on image, but they rarely have time to put in the work. That's where we come in. Lydia had told him that line, no doubt. I nodded, crossing my arms. Makes sense. Listen, I'll get back to you once I confirm how many staff we'd sign on for. You have a card? Sure. He pulled a glossy black business card from his pocket. Call me anytime, Mr. Green. I locked eyes with him just long enough to see if there was any flicker of recognition. Did he know who I was beyond the story I gave him? He remained calm, professional. Either Lydia had never mentioned me by name or he was an exceptional actor. Probably the latter, I decided. Great, thanks. I turned to leave, feeling a swirl of triumph and anger. You have no idea, Felix, do you? But soon you will. That night, Lydia claimed she had a client dinner. Quinn sat with me in the living room, restless. Eventually, around 11 p.m., Quinn's phone pinged with the cloned text app. She quickly turned the screen toward me. Felix, we have to watch out. Your husband's been snooping around Axiom. He asked about me. Lydia, what? Why would he do that? He hates gyms. Felix, don't know, but he was polite. Could be a coincidence. Lydia, I don't think so. Let's stay low. I'll find a way to get the rest of the money fast. I exhaled slowly. So Felix recognized me after all. My heart hammered. Quinn stared, shocked. I forced a half smile, reassuring her. They're worried, which means we're gaining ground. Quinn swallowed, looking pale. Dad, you're going to be okay, right? I wrapped an arm around her shoulders. We're going to be fine, Quinn. Trust me, I've seen bigger sharks than Felix. We'll corner him. And your mother, I'll handle her. She blinked away tears, nodding. I just can't believe she's working against you. Against us. I had no real comfort to give. All I could do was hold my daughter close, seething inside. Lydia was now actively planning to drain my money, my business, for some scumbag trainer. The nerve. I told myself I'd put an end to this soon. I just needed the right timing to ensure neither Lydia nor Felix could weasel out of the consequences. I started sleeping in the guest bedroom, telling Lydia it was because of my crazy work hours. She didn't question it much, probably relieved to avoid intimacy that might reveal her secrets. One night, around 2 a.m., I got up, restless. My mind kept replaying the lines from Felix's text. I wandered downstairs, nearly dark except for a small lamp. Then I heard footsteps, soft, careful footsteps near the office where I kept personal files and my locked safe. Pausing at the foot of the stairs, I craned my neck. Sure enough, the office door was slightly ajar, a sliver of light shining out. My heart kicked into overdrive. She's in there. I stepped silently across the hallway until I could peek in. Lydia stood by the metal safe, flipping through documents under a desk lamp. She had her phone out, snapping pictures of the pages. I recognized them. Investment portfolios, titles to property, basically all the big assets. She was documenting my net worth. A wave of anger nearly drove me to barge in, demand answers. But I forced calm. I carefully slid my phone out and snapped a quick photo from behind, capturing her in the act. Proof. Hard, undeniable proof that Lydia was more than just cheating, she was forging a path to financial betrayal as well. I swallowed down the bitterness. Soon, I'll show this to her, to a lawyer, to whoever it takes to protect me and Quinn. Then I stepped back, returning to the guest bedroom quietly. She never suspected I'd seen her. She probably went to bed that night feeling triumphant, oblivious to the fact that I was meticulously gathering a case against her. Tomorrow, I thought, I'll let Willis know we've reached the critical stage. I remember lying there, adrenaline spiking through me, staring at the ceiling for hours. My mind churned with scenarios, confronting Lydia right away or waiting until I could tie Felix in more tightly. Wait, Connor. Wait until they can't slip away. Because in my line of work, you only get one shot at a total takedown. I wanted it to be perfect. In times of crisis, my memories of Detroit come rushing back. I was never the golden boy that people assume, just because I wear suits now and manage a successful firm. I learned street smarts the hard way, in an environment where trusting the wrong person could cost you your future. So lying awake the morning after I saw Lydia rummaging in my safe, I recalled those lessons about never tipping your hand too early. When I was a teen, I had to pick up survival skills, noticing who was scoping out your pockets, who was spreading rumors about you. Later, I served as a tech-savvy Army Ranger, bridging old-school grit with new-age infiltration. Afterward, I poured those skills into building Summit security solutions. The point is, I don't shy away from conflict, but I don't rush into it blindly either. Let me be clear. Discovering my wife's betrayal stung on a personal level, but it also triggered something primal, a readiness to do whatever it took to protect my domain. That's part of who I am. I overcame adversity once. I can do it again. Lydia, she must have forgotten who she was dealing with. Or maybe she thought love had blinded me to her cunning. But I was never blind. I was just giving her the benefit of the doubt. That benefit evaporated when I saw the photos on Quinn's phone and my own snapshot of Lydia at the safe. First thing I did that day was call Serena Hamilton, my longtime lawyer and close confidant. I kept the call calm, explaining I had reason to suspect an internal threat my wife, ironically. Serena didn't flinch. She'd seen corporate meltdowns, high-stakes divorces, but maybe never expected me to be on that docket. "Connor," she said firmly, "I need specifics. If Lydia's tampering with your personal finances and possibly your company's assets, we have to act. Freezing large transfers, introducing new password protocols, that sort of thing." I closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. "Yes, do it. I want any suspicious movement of funds flagged. If she tries to shift anything above a nominal threshold, freeze it pending my approval, and set up a contingency plan for dividing assets just in case." Serena paused. "Are we talking about a potential divorce scenario?" A cold wave passed through me. "I don't know. Possibly. For now, it's just caution. If she's compromised by some con man, they might come after Summit. I can't let that happen." "All right, I'll handle it discreetly," she promised. After that call, I contacted Quinn, letting her know to watch for unusual behavior from Lydia. Meanwhile, I also looped Willis in, telling him to expedite the background check on Felix. If he'd scammed other men's wives, there might be a pattern of financial extortion or blackmail. The more we knew, the better. This was no longer a mere suspicion of adultery, it was turning into potential grand-scale fraud. That evening, Quinn approached me with a determined set to her jaw. "Dad, I found a better app to mirror all of Mom's phone usage, even phone calls. It's shady software, but it works. I used a partial code from my coding club. She doesn't suspect a thing yet because I installed it when her phone was left on the counter. I studied my daughter's face, torn between gratitude and guilt. She was 17. Should she be entangled in this messy web? But then, Lydia had made Quinn a victim by lying to her as well, so I accepted Quinn's help. The app gave us a direct feed, texts, calls, location pings. If Lydia forgot to power off her GPS, we'd know exactly where she went. That same night, the phone's location data showed Lydia spending nearly an hour at a shady lounge on the outskirts of town, presumably with Felix. Quinn and I watched the real-time feed, the two of us huddled around her laptop. We saw messages like, Felix, 7:45 p.m., parking in the back, hurry, Lydia, 7:47 p.m., on my way, keep an eye out, Connor thinks I'm at the office. Quinn let out a shaky breath. I guess that's that. She's definitely meeting him. I clenched my teeth, controlling my anger. So it appears. The lounge's name was Sultry Nights, a place known for private booths and dim lighting. Perfect for clandestine meetups. Some deep part of me wanted to get in the car, storm over, and catch them in the act. But I restrained myself. This was bigger than heartbreak. They were planning something with my finances. I needed the end game, not just an emotional blow-up. Let's see if we can record her calls, I told Quinn. She fiddled with the software. We only caught partial audio, static last and distant. Lydia's voice, nervous. He's definitely watching me. Felix's low murmur. Money by next week, can't risk it, your daughter. Our hearts pounded at hearing him mention your daughter. Quinn looked at me in alarm. I gave her a reassuring nod. They won't harm you, Quinn. Over my dead body. The call ended abruptly, but we'd gleaned enough to confirm Felix was pushing Lydia to finalize whatever con they were cooking. Next week, I ran a hand down my face. We have a time frame. He wants something in a matter of days. They'll escalate soon. Should we warn the police? Quinn asked, voice tremulous. I gave a small headshake. Not yet. We need more direct evidence before going official. Once I pull that trigger, it's war. I want to ensure they can't weasel out of charges. She nodded, though fear lingered in her eyes. 2 nights later, Lydia surprised me by suggesting we go out to dinner together. It was a rare gesture these days, and I suspected an ulterior motive. Maybe she was trying to test whether I was still in the dark. Nevertheless, I agreed. We drove to an upscale restaurant downtown, a place with soft jazz music playing overhead and discreet servers. The entire ride there, she maintained an odd cheerfulness. She chatted about a new marketing client, how it might lead to big commissions. I smiled politely, thinking, you're weaving so many lies. Do you even remember what's real anymore? During dinner, she reached across the table, resting her hand lightly on mine. Connor, I know I've been distracted lately. I'm sorry. Work's just been insane, and I feel like we haven't connected. I raised an eyebrow. I agree, we haven't. But is it just work? She blinked rapidly. What else would it be? I gave her a gentle half-smile, playing the naive husband. Sometimes I worry we're drifting. Maybe you're not happy with me. Her grip tightened on my fingers for an instant before she let go. Don't be silly. We're fine. She forced a laugh, but tension skittered in her eyes. The waitress arrived with our entrees, sparing Lydia from continuing that awkward conversation. We ate in a forced calm, making small talk about Quinn's upcoming coding competition. At one point, Lydia nearly spilled water across the table. Her composure was slipping. Finally, dessert came, a molten chocolate cake. Lydia stirred the spoon absent-mindedly, eyes darting around. She gave me a fleeting glance. So I was thinking, our finances might need some reorganization. We keep so many separate accounts, it's getting confusing. Would you be open to consolidating? More joint access? My jaw clenched involuntarily, but I forced a curious expression. Here it is, I thought, her attempt to get me to open the vault. Consolidation, I asked lightly. That's a big step. Why now? She shrugged, swirling the spoon. I guess I realized we can trust each other, right? And it's easier to keep track if we don't have too many places to stash our money. I mean, we have the emergency fund, your corporate bonuses, that real estate investment. Maybe it's time to combine them for simpler management. I let a beat pass, letting her sweat. Then I gave a slow nod. Let me think about it. Maybe we can talk to Serena about the legal side, make sure we're covered from a tax standpoint. Her face faltered at the mention of my lawyer. Sure, yeah. That's good. The rest of dessert was a tense dance of polite conversation. She was hoping for immediate agreement, but I dangled Serena's name to remind Lydia. I don't make significant moves without counsel. I saw a flicker of worry in her eyes. Good. On the drive home, I silently fumed at the nerve. She was basically pushing me to hand over the keys to my entire fortune, all so she could deliver me up to Felix? I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles ached, but outwardly, I gave no hint that I was onto her. Let her stew. Let her report back to Felix that I needed time. Meanwhile, I was finalizing a net of security measures behind the scenes. When I got home, I texted Willis the new developments. He responded that he'd discovered something big. Felix wasn't just flirting with Lydia. He had a track record of conning 3 or 4 other wealthy women, each time walking away with hefty payoffs after the divorces. Lawsuits, NDAs, hush money. Some men never recovered financially. My pulse thundered as I read Willis's summary. Felix was a pro, and Lydia was his new golden goose. If I'd been a lesser man, maybe they'd get away with it. But I had resources, knowledge, and an unwavering will to crush anyone who threatened my family, even if that threat was from within. I told Willis, keep pulling strings. If we can find the ex-husbands, maybe they'll testify if we press charges. He typed back, I was aware, but fear was overshadowed by rage at the betrayal. Let Felix try something. I'd be ready. One evening I found Quinn pacing in her bedroom, tears in her eyes. When she spotted me, she seemed frantic. Dad, I confronted Mom. I couldn't help it. She came home smelling like men's cologne again, and I just lost it. My stomach lurched. What did she say? Quinn took a shaky breath. She denied everything. Said I was imagining things, that she was just hugging a coworker goodbye. I told her I knew about the huge money withdrawal. She told me to mind my own business, that it's adult stuff. Dad, she's lying right to my face. I pressed my lips into a thin line, hatred simmering. I'll talk to her. Quinn grabbed my sleeve. No, she'll just spin more lies. Dad, I can't stand seeing you letting her do this. You need to do something. I nodded. Trust me, I have a plan. It's almost ready. Just hold on. She let go, tears slipping down her cheeks. If she's in love with this Felix guy, do you think we can fix it? Or is it all about money? Her words hurt. Quinn was clinging to the hope that maybe her mother was just misguided, not malicious. But I had read the messages. I knew Lydia was fully complicit. She might have regrets, but that didn't excuse her betrayal. I patted Quinn's hand. We might not fix it, Quinn, but we'll be okay. I promise. Late that night, the spyware app recorded a phone call in its entirety. Quinn was asleep, so I listened alone in my office, heart pounding. Felix. Lydia, we're out of time. I need the rest of the money by Friday. The debts, these people won't wait. Lydia. I'm trying. Connor is suspicious, but I asked him about consolidating finances. He'll go for it, I'm sure. Once he does, I can move the money into a side account. Felix. That's not enough. We need the real estate portfolio, too. I want the property titles. Understand? Lydia. He's not stupid. He checks everything. Felix. Then distract him. Lie, cry, do whatever. If I don't get at least $100 grand by next Monday, we're finished. And trust me, you don't want me going down alone. Lydia. Shaky exhale. I'll handle it. Please don't push me. I ended the recording, cold fury surging. This was it. Felix had shady debts, and he was using Lydia to bail him out. She was willingly risking my entire empire to cover his hide. Friday was only a few days away. That meant soon Lydia would likely push me aggressively for consolidation. She might attempt forging my signature if I refused. The noose was tightening. Armed with that incriminating phone call, I no longer needed to wait for the bigger fish. I realized I had enough to bury Felix and implicate Lydia. But to ensure they didn't have a chance to wiggle free, I planned my moves carefully, coordinating with Serena and Willis. I wanted a swift, crushing blow that would protect Quinn and me from further harm. First step, seizing control of all major accounts. Under Serena's guidance, I moved my corporate bonuses, liquid assets, and personal savings into a newly established trust that only I could access. I froze any shared accounts, citing potential fraud. Officially, it appeared as a standard security measure, something my firm often did for high-net-worth individuals. Lydia wouldn't suspect it was targeted at her specifically until she tried to take money. Second step, installing cameras. Tiny, hidden devices, placed in our home's office near the safe. Another in the living room, angled discreetly. If Lydia tried rummaging again, I'd have her on video. Typically, I despise infringing on privacy, but she left me no choice. Third step, enlisting Willis for real-time surveillance of Felix. We tagged Felix's car with a GPS tracker. Willis even hired an undercover contact at Axiom Performance to befriend Felix casually, gleaning inside info about his schedule, routines, possible moves. If Felix was about to skip town, we'd know. Then I waited for that moment Lydia would try to finalize her betrayal. It came on a Tuesday. But first, Monday night. Lydia came home around 10 p.m., eyes red, stressed to the breaking point. She'd obviously been with Felix, discussing the money demands. I was in the living room reading a random novel, though barely registering the words. She walked in, tossed her purse on the couch, and sank beside me. "Connor," she murmured, "we need to talk." I set the book down, feigning mild concern. "Sure." She inhaled slowly, as if preparing for a performance. "I've been thinking about us. We used to share everything, remember? No secrets. But lately, I feel like we're drifting. And I just realized I want a fresh start for our finances, like I said at dinner. Consolidate everything, no separate accounts. Just trust each other fully, the way married couples do." Her eyes glistened, and I wondered how much of this was genuine guilt. "You want to combine everything into a single pot? Right away?" She nodded firmly. "Yes, let's do it this week. I'm drowning in business obligations, but if we unify resources, it'll ease the burden. I can help manage certain aspects so you don't stress." I almost laughed at the irony. Me? Stressing? She was the one orchestrating a scam. I stared at her, letting silence stretch. Then I said, "All right, let's get the paperwork started. But I want Serena's blessing first." Her nostrils flared ever so slightly. "We don't need a lawyer for that. We can just do it ourselves online or sign a few bank forms." I shook my head. "No, Lydia, you know me. I like every T crossed. Serena's handling everything. It's best to do it by the book." She plastered on a taut smile. "Fine, sure. But can we do it soon? Like, tomorrow?" Impatience radiated off her. She was desperate for that transfer, desperate to hand it over to Felix. The thought made my blood boil, but I forced a calm nod. "I'll see if Serena's available." She blinked as if uncertain whether to push further, then eventually leaned over to kiss me on the cheek. "Thank you, Connor. This means a lot." I gave a non-committal hum, ignoring the pang of betrayal in my chest. A fresh start indeed. Bright and early Tuesday, I had Serena implement an additional freeze on all accounts Lydia might attempt to tap. She also placed a red flag with the major banks, so any suspicious transaction in my name required direct confirmation from me. Lydia, ignorant of these moves, probably strolled into the day expecting to finalize the consolidation. Sure enough, that afternoon, Lydia texted me, "Hey babe, the bank said we can sign forms digitally if we do it now. I'll forward you the link." I smirked at my phone. "Nice try." I responded, "Let me check with Serena. I'll sign once she approves the language." No reply for a bit. Then, "We don't need a lawyer for a simple consolidation." That was my cue. I typed back, "Just being cautious, hun. If there's no problem, then it shouldn't matter." She responded with a simple, "Okay." I imagined her frustration, Felix's anger. Good. Let them stew. Late that evening, I watched on my hidden camera feed as Lydia tiptoed into the home office again. She tried opening the safe, probably hoping she could at least get hold of some property documents or additional funds. But I'd changed the combination. She fiddled, inputting the old code to no avail. Her shoulders sagged in the camera feed. She cursed under her breath, rummaging through drawers, finding only scraps of old receipts. I saw her glance at her phone, presumably texting Felix with updates. Then she left, frustration etched on her face. I quietly tapped the camera feed off, a faint satisfaction coursing through me. She was caged. She just didn't fully grasp it yet. Tomorrow, I decided I'd tip the scales. Wednesday morning, I instructed Willis to arrange a meeting with Felix under some pretense of a business deal. We'd pretend Summit Security might be interested in forging a partnership with him for a corporate fitness program. Felix, anxious about money, agreed readily. The meeting was at a coffee shop near downtown. I arrived first, choosing a back corner booth. Willis sat at a separate table, inconspicuous. Felix arrived wearing a leather jacket, sunglasses perched on his head. He scanned the shop, spotted me, then flashed that salesman grin. "Mr. Green, I'm glad you reached out. So you changed your mind about the corporate wellness?" I nodded politely as he slid into the booth. "I might have. My employees are always complaining about their sedentary lifestyles. Figured you could offer them sessions at a discounted rate." He signaled the waiter for a coffee, then turned back to me. "That's definitely something I can handle. Tailoring programs for large groups requires some resources, though. I'd, request an upfront deposit to ensure I can hire more trainers." I folded my arms, glancing at him. "How big a deposit?" He shrugged casually. 50,000, maybe. We can hammer out the details later." I almost laughed. 50,000, huh? My voice dripped with irony. "Funny how you fixate on that number." He blinked, confusion flickering. "Well, you know business overhead." I leaned forward, dropping the polite facade. "Listen carefully, Felix. I know exactly what you're doing with Lydia. Don't bother denying it." His face froze. Then he plastered on a faint smirk. "I'm not sure what you're talking about." I chuckled darkly. "Sure you do. You've been funneling money from wealthy women for a while. Lydia is just your latest mark. And you're behind on some personal debts, so you're pressuring her to get more money from me. That about sum it up?" A flash of anger crossed his eyes. "You watch your mouth." I shrugged, unimpressed. "Or what? You'll skip town again? Hit up another gullible wife? Let me be crystal clear, you're finished. I'm shutting you down." He opened his mouth, perhaps to bluff or threaten, but I continued coldly. "Touch my family's assets again, and I'll ensure you regret it. We both know your track record. You're not the first con man I've come across." He inhaled, trying to keep it together. "You got no proof. Lydia denies any wrongdoing, says it's just normal marketing stuff." I leaned back, arms crossing. "I have texts, recordings, video, enough to bury both of you legally if I choose. So here's the new arrangement. You walk away from Lydia, from my finances, from my life, or I bring charges that'll land you in prison." His jaw tightened. "What about Lydia?" I narrowed my eyes. "She'll face the consequences for her betrayal. But your role is bigger. You have prior victims. I can gather them as witnesses." He rolled his shoulders, attempting bravado. "Your wife came to me, buddy, not the other way around." I mustered every ounce of will not to punch him. "I'm done here," I said instead, standing up. "You have 24 hours to vanish from Lydia's life. Don't contact her. Don't approach Quinn. Don't so much as glance in our direction, or you'll see how powerful Summit Security can be." He glared, but I could sense the flicker of uncertainty. I didn't wait for a response. I marched out, Willis following at a distance. Once outside, I let out a shaky breath. That was intense, but a necessary move. Felix might lash out, or maybe he'd run. Either way, I had the upper hand. That evening, Lydia was pacing the living room when I got home, eyes wild. She whirled to face me, practically spitting words. "Connor, why the hell did you freeze our accounts? I can't access anything. My card was declined at the grocery store." I raised an eyebrow, feigning mild surprise. "Oh, that. Just a routine security measure. There's been suspicious activity, so I had Serena lock everything down until we can figure it out." She gripped the back of the couch, knuckles white. "You can't just do that without telling me?" I walked past her, setting my briefcase down. "Actually, as the primary account holder, yes, I can. If there's potential fraud, I have to protect our finances." Her eyes narrowed. "Fraud? You're saying I'm what, a criminal?" I gave a hollow laugh. "I never said that, but the bank flagged some questionable withdrawals. Hard to blame them, right?" She opened her mouth, closed it again. Then she tried a different tactic. She softened her expression, tears forming. "Connor, if you had questions, you could have just asked me. I told you I needed that money for a short-term business situation. I would have repaid it. Now you're humiliating me. I stared at her, refusing to budge. You're humiliating yourself, I wanted to say. Instead, I kept a neutral tone. We'll figure it out once we verify every transaction. It shouldn't take long. Tears slipped down her cheeks. You're shutting me out. You don't trust me at all, do you? I nearly laughed at the hypocrisy, but I only said, I'd be happy to trust you if you came clean about everything, Lydia. Everything. She looked like a cornered animal. Then her phone buzzed. She snatched it up, read something, and I saw panic flood her eyes. Probably Felix. Without another word, she stormed out of the living room, phone pressed to her ear. I let her go. The seeds of confrontation were sown. She now knew I was playing hardball. Quinn, who had witnessed part of that scene from the hallway, emerged cautiously. Is she? I nodded, exhaling. She's starting to realize how trapped she is. Felix is probably blaming me for messing up his plan. Let her panic. It's about time the truth comes out. Quinn looked conflicted. I can't believe Mom is so deep in this. I hate her for what she's done, but she's still my mom. I gave Quinn a gentle hug. I know, this is going to be rough, kiddo, but it's necessary. We'll come out the other side. She pressed her face against my shoulder, quiet. All I could do was hold her, the weight of betrayal pressing on both of us. My mind flicked through the final steps, exposing Lydia's affair publicly or using the evidence in a legal confrontation. Which path yields the best protection for Quinn? One thing was certain. I wouldn't let Lydia and Felix waltz away unscathed, not after all this deception. By tomorrow, I planned to confront Lydia with the evidence show her I wasn't messing around. Then, if necessary, I'd file for divorce. I clenched my fists, remembering the day I married her, how I'd vowed to protect her, love her. Now, she was the one I needed protection from. I parted from Quinn, a determined glint in my eyes. Go get some rest, okay? Tomorrow might be a long day. She nodded, trudging upstairs. I watched her go, then retreated to my office. Flicking on the hidden camera feed, I saw Lydia rummaging again near the safe, swearing under her breath when she realized it was fully locked. I let out a humorless chuckle. She was so desperate, yet all her cunning had met a dead end. Around midnight, I grabbed my phone and listened into the call feed from Quinn's spyware. Lydia was speaking to Felix, voice frantic. Lydia. He froze everything. I can't get a dime out. We're screwed. I told you he was suspicious. Felix, then you have to threaten him with something. Tell him you'll leak corporate secrets. Do something. Lydia. Are you insane? He's not an idiot. He'll destroy me if I try that. Felix. If I don't pay my debt, you think your life is bad now? People will come knocking. Lydia. Sob. I don't know what to do. She was in tears, cornered, finally reaping the consequences. I stared at the screen, no pity in my heart. She might have started this on a whim or out of dissatisfaction, but she kept going, fully aware of the damage it would do. That was the end of illusions. She was no longer the Lydia I once admired. She was an accomplice to a criminal scheme. I ended the call feed, leaning back in my chair. Tomorrow I'd show her the recordings, the texts, everything. Then I'd lay out her options, either sign over her share of assets, confess her wrongdoing, or face public scandal and potential criminal charges. She had a choice, total surrender or total ruin. My mind spun with the final details as I typed out a message to Serena. Initiate the legal maneuver. Tomorrow I confront her. I stared at that line for a moment, remembering our wedding day. Then I hit send, feeling a dull ache under my sternum. Betrayal always hurts, no matter how steeled you are. But I was prepared to face it, to crush it. Quinn was my only priority now. I wake up on Thursday morning feeling like I've swallowed live coals. My chest is tight, my mouth dry. Last night I ended part one of this personal hell by listening to Lydia on the phone sobbing over her failed plan to siphon my money. Her frantic whispers to Felix how she had no idea what to do next still echo in my head. I rise from the guest bed, stretch my arms, and remind myself that today marks the beginning of the end for her charade. I haven't confronted her head-on with the evidence, but I've done everything else short of that. Froze the assets, changed security codes, prepared the divorce papers with Serena. The next step is to gather at all her texts, the video of her rummaging in my safe, Quinn's phone logs, Felix's shady background, and present it to Lydia in one devastating blow. Before I can do that, I need coffee. I pad downstairs, noticing how silent the house is. Quinn's off at an early practice for her coding club. Lydia's possibly skulking around or might have left in a rush again. My shoulders tense at the thought of crossing paths with her. The tension between us has grown so thick it's like stale air you can't quite clear out with open windows. I brew a pot of coffee and lean against the kitchen counter, mind swirling. Once I confront Lydia, do I call the police? Do I merely file for divorce? Do I let her walk away humiliated and broke? There's a part of me that just wants her gone, wants to shield Quinn from further drama. But there's another part, darker, more vindictive, that wants Lydia, and especially Felix, to feel every ounce of pain they tried to inflict on me. My phone buzzes. It's Serena Hamilton, my lawyer and trusted ally. I pick up, pressing the device to my ear. "Morning," she says in that crisp, professional tone. "Are you ready for the big conversation?" "As ready as I'll ever be," I reply, massaging my temple. "I've reviewed all the compiled evidence you sent last night. Text logs, recorded calls, copies of potential forged documents Lydia might have attempted to submit. This is airtight, Connor. She can't wriggle out of it." I exhale. "Good. So once I show her everything, then what?" Serena hesitates. "Depends on your ultimate goal. We can push for an immediate legal separation and freeze her out entirely. Or you could threaten criminal charges if she doesn't comply with certain demands like relinquishing her share of assets, signing a divorce settlement on your terms, and so forth." I swallow, feeling a twinge of sadness. She's Quinn's mother. I don't want Quinn to watch her go to jail, but I also won't just let her skip away. "There's a middle path," Serena says, voice softening. "A settlement that ensures Lydia can't come after you financially ever again, plus monthly restitution to keep her on a tight leash. You'd hold the nuclear option of pressing charges if she violates the agreement or tries anything else shady." A humorless smile crosses my face. She deserves it. Fine, let's go with that. Have the settlement documents ready. I'll confront her tonight, and if all goes according to plan, I'll need you to finalize them tomorrow. Understood. Stay strong, Connor. Call me if anything escalates. I thank her and end the call. A cold wave passes through me. Tonight, I lay down the law. Despite the tension, Quinn has returned home around 9 a.m. carrying a battered laptop case. She sets it on the kitchen table, giving me a small wave. I pour her a glass of orange juice. "You're back early," I comment, trying for casual. She shrugs, but her eyes flick toward the empty hallway, as if checking for Lydia's presence. Practice ended sooner than I expected. The team's code compiled perfectly on the first try, which almost never happens. A faint smile graces my lips. At least something's going right today. She picks up the glass, takes a tentative sip. "Dad, what's our next move? Are you talking to Mom soon? Like, really talking, not the passive-aggressive stuff?" I rest my forearms on the table, leaning closer. "Yes, tonight after dinner. I'm going to present everything. Then it's up to her how she responds." Quinn's mouth tightens. Good. I'm tired of the lies. She bites her lip, voice shaking slightly. "I know she's done terrible things, but still she's my mother, you know? I don't want to see her homeless." My heart clenches at the worry in Quinn's voice. "I understand. I'll give her a choice. Sign a fair settlement or face charges. She'll still have some means to live. I'm not trying to crush her entirely. But I won't let her hurt us again." Quinn nods, eyes watery. "Thank you." We sit there in shared silence, the hum of the refrigerator filling the space. I reach out, gently squeezing her hand. This situation is so twisted my once happy family is on the brink of collapse. But I can't ignore what Lydia has done. Around noon, Lydia breezes into the living room. She's dressed in a crisp blouse and tailored pants, hair swept into a purposeful ponytail. She halts abruptly upon seeing Quinn and me quietly talking on the couch. Her eyes dart between us, wariness etched on her features. She tries a bright smile. "Hey, guys. I wasn't expecting you both to be home." I keep my face neutral. Quinn does the same, though I feel her tense up beside me. "We decided to stay in," I say calmly. "You busy?" Lydia shifts on her feet, forcing another smile. "Oh, just a lunch meeting with a client." She lifts a hand as though to show off a non-existent watch. "Actually, I should be heading out soon." Mind if I talk to you for a second first? My tone is carefully measured. She blinks, glancing at Quinn. Sure. Maybe in private? I nod. I give Quinn's shoulder a brief pat, then follow Lydia into the kitchen. She leans against the counter, arms crossed protectively. What is it, Connor? I'm running late. I study her for a moment, noticing the slight tremor in her left hand. I want you home tonight for dinner. Let's call it a family meeting. She forces a chuckle. We can talk now if you want. I prefer tonight, I say, unblinking. There are some serious matters we need to discuss, and I want us to have ample time. She tries to hold my gaze, but looks away. I can't promise. My schedule, I'm not asking. My voice is firm. Her face flushes, anger mingled with fear. Fine, she mutters. I'll be home. Then she practically flees the room, grabbing her purse and keys and rushing out the front door without another word. I stand there, exhaling slowly. Tonight, the illusions end. The afternoon crawls by. Quinn holes up in her bedroom, presumably on her laptop, but I can sense her tension. I busy myself by scanning older text messages on the spyware feed, hoping to glean if Lydia has any hidden resources I missed. She apparently once tried to open an offshore account, some bizarre, half-legal scheme Felix suggested, but the emails show that attempt failed. Good, one less variable. My phone buzzes with a text from Willis. Any sign Lydia or Felix might attempt to skip town? I reply, no. She's acting cagey but remains local. We do the confrontation tonight. He responds, keep me posted. We can discreetly monitor her if she tries anything. I type back, thanks, friend. Though I'm resolved to handle this, an undercurrent of dread courses through me. Confrontations can go sideways in a heartbeat. Lydia might become hysterical or lash out. Or Felix might show up, though I doubt he'd dare step into my home. Around 5 p.m., Willis drops by, ostensibly for a casual chat, but truly to finalize details. We sit in my office, door shut, voices low. He flicks through some printed notes. Felix's finances are on the edge. He owes about 70 grand to a couple of questionable lenders. If he doesn't pay soon, they'll come knocking. That's likely why he's pressuring Lydia so hard. I grunt in acknowledgement. Makes sense. Have you dug up anything else that might blindside us? Willis taps a page. I found a private storage unit Felix leased under an alias. He's stored stuff there, maybe blackmail materials from previous marks. I suspect Lydia was aware in case she needed leverage. We can't be sure. My jaw tenses. So he might have dirt on me? Or her plan was to stash something for future use? Possibly, but we don't see your name in any docs so far. This is mostly him keeping old insurance files. If Lydia was naive, maybe Felix assured her it was for something else. I rub my temples. Could complicate matters if they threaten to release my personal info. But I haven't done anything shady, my record is clean. Willis nods. Worst they can do is fabricate nonsense. I lean back in my chair, letting out a ragged breath. Tonight, I show Lydia the mountain of evidence. If she tries to bluff me, I'll call her on it. She can sign the settlement or face charges. That's it. End of story. Willis sets a reassuring hand on my shoulder. You got this, Connor. Just don't let emotions derail your plan. You remain calm. She'll crumble. I glance at the clock. 5:30 p.m. The hours feel like slow steps toward an inevitable collision. Quinn's in her room. She's supportive but hates the tension. I just want her to have closure, you know? She doesn't deserve this. Willis nods, sympathetically. Stay focused. After the dust settles, you and Quinn can start healing. He stands, offering me a tight grin. I'll be on standby. Good luck. By 6:30 p.m., Lydia is back, wearing a subdued blouse and jeans, no makeup. She looks drained, eyes flicking from me to Quinn. The three of us gather at the dining table. Quinn fiddles with her fork, pushing around lettuce in her salad. Lydia barely sips water. I force a few bites, but my appetite is non-existent. It's weirdly silent, as though the house itself is bracing for a storm. After a few minutes of stilted small talk, Quinn mentioning a coding assignment, Lydia muttering half-responses, I set down my fork. Why don't we move to the living room? I say quietly. We need to talk as a family. Lydia's gaze snaps to me, a flicker of alarm passing through her features. Quinn nods, standing up. We head into the living room, where I gesture for Quinn to take an armchair. Lydia perches on the sofa. I stay standing, arms folded across my chest. My heart pounds. This is it, the confrontation. I clear my throat, meeting Lydia's eyes. I'm going to speak plainly, I begin, voice low and steady. I've spent weeks noticing things, missing money, suspicious receipts, phone calls late at night. Lydia tries to protest. Connor, I raise a hand. Don't. Let me finish. She clamps her mouth shut. Quinn looks down at her hands, trembling. I forge ahead. I know about Felix Monroe. I know you've been meeting him secretly. I know you withdrew thousands from our accounts. I know you plan to unify our finances so you could take a large sum. I have text records, call recordings, video of you rummaging in my safe. Lydia's face goes pale, horror creeping in. She glances frantically at Quinn, who avoids her gaze. It's exactly what it looks like, I cut in, voice growing more forceful. You lied, you stole, and you tried to betray me for that con man who has a history of seducing wealthy women. Did you think I wouldn't find out? She exhales shakily, tears welling. Connor, you have to understand Felix, he's in trouble, and I let out a bitter laugh. You were helping him by throwing me under the bus, by risking our daughter's financial stability, by trampling on every vow you ever made to me. Her tears overflow. I was unhappy. We were drifting, and he was so supportive at first, so charming. Spare me, I say, fury surging. Unhappy doesn't justify theft, doesn't justify planning to clean me out, doesn't justify lying to Quinn. At the mention of Quinn, Lydia sobs louder, turning toward her. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I was in over my head. Felix said, Quinn's voice shakes with anger. How could you do this to Dad? To us? You think that's an excuse? Lydia puts her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. For a moment, I feel a twinge of pity. But then I recall all the manipulations, the phone calls, the forging of my signature. My resolve hardens. I walk over to the coffee table where I've placed a thick folder. Everything is here, I say. Printouts of your texts with Felix, bank statements, photos, enough to ruin you if I go public or call the authorities. She looks up, eyes wide. You'd have me arrested? That's up to you, I reply coldly. Because right now you have two paths. One, you sign an agreement admitting to marital misconduct, forfeiting your rights to certain assets, and paying restitution for the funds you stole. If you comply, I won't press charges. Quinn is spared from seeing her mother in prison. Her lip trembles. And the other path? I press my fists to my hips, glaring. You refuse. I release this evidence, and you face criminal charges for attempted fraud. I'll also ensure Felix's role is exposed. He'll likely be jailed. Your reputations, both of them, will be destroyed. Lydia's tears keep flowing. She glances at Quinn, who sits there in stunned silence. Then Lydia sniffles. So I lose everything either way. A harsh laugh escapes me. You lost everything the moment you chose him over us. She closes her eyes, tears streaking her cheeks. For a long moment, no one speaks. Quinn's breathing is audible, ragged. Finally, Lydia murmurs, Connor, I'll sign whatever you want. Just please, don't separate me from Quinn. A wave of conflicting emotions hits me. I'm not taking Quinn away. You're her mother. But you'll no longer be welcome in this house, and you'll have no claim on my company or the real estate. You'll have to find your own way. She wipes her face, voice cracking. I deserve that, I guess. My chest aches with residual anger. I'll have Serena finalize the documents tomorrow, sign them, and you walk free, though you'll be paying restitution for a long, long time. Lydia nods, swallowing her sobs. I'll sign. I just can't handle jail, Connor. Not after everything. Quinn lets out a trembling breath. Mom! Lydia tries to approach her, but Quinn flinches, looking away. I can't. Not now, Quinn says, voice raw. You lied to my face again and again. Just give me space. Lydia's face crumples. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I never wanted to drag you into this. A cold fury flickers in Quinn's eyes, tears glistening. But you did. 10 minutes later, Lydia has retreated upstairs. She's presumably packing a small bag since I told her I want her out by tomorrow. I remain in the living room with Quinn, who's sniffling, face pressed into her hands. I rub her back gently, feeling my own grief swirl beneath the anger. I know this is devastating, I say softly, but it's better than living in her lies. She hiccups. I used to admire her dad. She was always so poised, so supportive. I don't even recognize her anymore. I wrap my arm around her shoulders. We'll get through it. She chose this path. You and I just adapt and survive. She nods against my shoulder. What about Felix? My mouth sets in a firm line. He'll get his due. Once Lydia signs the settlement, I'll see if I need to press charges or handle him another way. Trust me, he's not walking away clean. Quinn's tears slow. She sits up, wiping her face. I hate him for what he did to our family. I gently stroke her hair. So do I. Let's handle your mother's situation first. Felix is next on my list. At around 11 p.m., the house is quiet except for footsteps upstairs. Lydia occasionally shuffles around, presumably boxing up personal items. Quinn locked herself in her room to cry or distract herself with code. I gave her space. My phone rings with Serena's number. I answer in a hushed tone. Hey, it's late. She replies, I wanted to see how the confrontation went. I walk into the study, shutting the door. She broke down, agreed to sign your documents. She'll vacate by tomorrow. Serena's tone is firm. Good. I'll have a final settlement contract drafted first thing in the morning. She'll waive spousal support, relinquish any claim on your shared properties, and pay you monthly restitution for the stolen funds. I close my eyes, letting relief wash over me. Thank you. A pause. You all right, Connor? This can't be easy, even if it's necessary. I lean against the desk. I'm numb, furious, sad for Quinn, but this is the only way. Serena's voice softens. I'll come by tomorrow around noon. We can get her signature, maybe have a notary present. Then it's done. Understood, I say quietly. Thank you, Serena. We hang up. I stand there, letting the hum of the overhead light fill the silence. Once she signs, the legalities are settled, but the emotional scars remain. Just before midnight, I hear light knocking on my study door. Lydia's voice timid. Connor, can I talk to you? I open the door. She stands there, eyes puffy, holding a small duffel bag in one hand. Her shoulders slump with resignation. She steps in, voice trembling. I'll stay at a motel tonight. Can't bear the looks from Quinn, but can we talk before I go? I gesture to a chair. Sure. What is it? She sets her bag on the floor and sinks into the seat, tears clinging to her lashes. I know I don't deserve kindness, but please don't let Quinn hate me forever. Let me try to fix things with her eventually. Bitterness wells up, but I quell it. That's up to Quinn, Lydia. You shattered her trust. She nods, sniffing. I'll sign your settlement. I'll do whatever it takes to avoid jail. I didn't realize how far I'd fallen until now. Silence lingers as I stare at her, recalling all the good times we once shared. The picnics, the vacations, the laughter, all overshadowed by her betrayal. You chose Felix, I say in a low voice, over your family. That's unforgivable. She bows her head. I was lonely, angry at you for always being at work, at how you'd changed. I let resentment grow, and when Felix offered a spark of excitement, I fell for it. Then it spiraled into madness. I scoff. You could have talked to me. You could have asked for therapy or told me you wanted out. Instead, you plotted behind my back. Tears drip onto her hands. I know. I'm so sorry. I rub my temples, exhausted. Apologies won't fix the damage, Lydia. Just sign the documents tomorrow and stay away from me for a while. Let Quinn process this. She nods, shakily. Okay. Then she stands, hefts the duffel bag, and walks to the door. Before exiting, she turns, tears glistening in the dim light. Goodbye, Connor. I don't reply, and she slips away. Through the window, I watch her figure cross the moonlit driveway, load her bag into her car, and drive off into the night. A swirl of conflicting emotions churns inside me, anger, sorrow, relief, confusion. But there's no turning back now. I don't sleep well. I toss and turn in the guest bed, haunted by dreams of Lydia laughing with Felix while rummaging through my bank statements. By morning, I'm up before the alarm, heading downstairs to brew coffee. The house is eerily still. Quinn hasn't emerged, and Lydia's gone for good. Around 7 a.m., Quinn comes down in pajamas, eyes red. She sees me at the kitchen table, sipping black coffee, and quietly takes a seat opposite me. Neither of us speak for a long moment. Finally, I muster a gentle tone. "You okay?" She gives a half shrug. I'm sad, but also relieved she's out of the house. Is that horrible? I shake my head. No, it's normal. She betrayed us, Quinn. Our trust, our sense of safety. It's understandable you'd be relieved. She picks at the sleeve of her pajama top. So you're meeting with Serena today? I nod. Yes, Serena will come by around noon with the paperwork. Then Lydia will sign. After that, she'll be legally bound to pay restitution, and she'll forfeit all claims to our property. Quinn's eyes glimmer with tears. So it's really over, huh? I reach across the table, gently clasping her hand. This chapter, yes. But we'll be okay, Quinn. I promise. She nods, tears slipping free. I believe you. The day unfolds strangely. For the first time, the house lacks Lydia's usual presence, her voice, her footsteps. I walk through the living room, noticing the small items she took. A few photo frames, some personal knickknacks. A wave of déjà vu hits. I recall how tidy she used to keep everything, how we once joked about her obsession with color-coded planners. Those days are long gone. Quinn disappears into her room, claiming she has online schoolwork. I suspect she just needs space. Meanwhile, I check the spyware feed on Lydia's phone. She's still location-tracked, but I see no new messages with Felix. Maybe she's lying low, or maybe they're meeting in person to avoid digital footprints. Doesn't matter, I have enough evidence. At 11:30, Serena texts me that she's on the way. I brew a fresh pot of coffee in case we need it, feeling an odd surge of adrenaline. Let's finalize this. Right at noon, the doorbell rings. I open it to find Serena in a charcoal blazer, toting a slim briefcase. Her expression is sympathetic yet resolute. Morning, Connor. Come in, I say quietly, stepping aside. She greets Quinn with a gentle smile. Hi, Quinn. I'm sorry this situation is so hard on you. Quinn offers a shy nod, then retreats upstairs. She probably doesn't want to watch the signing. Serena and I settle at the dining table. She opens her briefcase, lays out a sheaf of papers. Here's the divorce settlement. It includes your terms. Lydia confesses to marital misconduct, agrees to 0 spousal support, forfeits any claim on marital assets, and commits to a monthly restitution plan. In exchange, you will not press criminal charges or release incriminating evidence. I skim the text. It's thorough. My pulse quickens. Looks good. Did we add that clause about immediate breach if she tries to contact Quinn at school or attempts to siphon more funds? Serena taps a page. Yes, under Section 4, she must respect boundaries, especially regarding financial matters. I nod grimly. Perfect. Now we just need her signature. Serena slides out a notary form. I brought my notary stamp. If you prefer, we can do it right here. I'll record the signing. Then it's official. I exhale, leaning back in the chair. All right, I told Lydia to come around noon. We'll see if she shows. As if on cue, the doorbell rings again. My stomach drops. Serena gives me a reassuring look, stands, and follows me to the door. Lydia stands on the porch, hair disheveled, wearing yesterday's outfit. Her eyes are shadowed with exhaustion. I notice she's gripping the strap of a small purse nervously. I step aside wordlessly, letting her in. She glances around as though half expecting Quinn to appear. I guide her to the dining table where Serena waits. Hello, Lydia, Serena says, neutral. I'm Connor's counsel. We spoke briefly on the phone last night, confirming the appointment. Lydia nods, voice trembling. Yes, I remember. Serena taps the papers. These are the settlement documents. We can go through them line by line if you wish, or you can read them at your own pace. Lydia sinks into a chair. Her gaze flicks to me, but I remain standing with arms crossed. I trust it's basically everything Connor wants, she says hollowly. I don't respond. Serena begins summarizing the key points. No spousal support, forfeiting property rights, mandatory monthly payments to reimburse the stolen funds, and a confidentiality clause preventing Lydia from speaking publicly about the situation. Lydia's tears flow silently by the time Serena finishes. I'll sign, she whispers. Whatever it takes. Serena slides over a pen, flipping to the signature line. Lydia's hand shakes as she scrawls her name. Serena stamps the pages, notarizing them. And the confession, Serena says, sliding another single-page affidavit. It's a statement acknowledging your affair and attempted fraud, ensuring we have grounds for legal action if you breach the settlement. Lydia chokes on a sob, but manages to scribble her signature on that as well. Finally, she sets the pen down, shoulders trembling. It's done, Serena says, collecting the papers. She glances at me. Connor? I dip my head. Yes. We all remain still, the weight of finality pressing on us. Lydia wipes at her cheeks, stands up unsteadily. So that's it? I have no claim, no home? I exhale. I left you some money in our checking account for short-term expenses. You can use that to secure a place to stay. The rest is locked down. She nods, tears falling freely. Thank you. We shuffle to the front door. Quinn lurks on the stairs, her expression torn. Lydia hesitates, then raises her voice softly. Quinn? Could I just say goodbye? Quinn descends a few steps, hugging her arms. You're leaving town? Lydia sniffles. I don't know, but I can't stay here. Not after everything. A flicker of pain crosses Quinn's face. She steps forward, letting Lydia pull her into a loose embrace. Lydia sobs quietly, stroking Quinn's hair. Quinn's eyes brim with tears, but she doesn't hug back fully. After a moment, Quinn pulls away. Take care, Mom. Lydia offers a heartbroken smile. I will. You too. Then Lydia looks at me, eyes swollen. Thank you for not sending me to jail. I tilt my head in a slight nod, not trusting myself to speak. She steps out onto the porch. I watch her walk to her car, shoulders bowed, the settlement document signed and sealed. She gets in, drives off slowly until she's out of sight. Behind me, Quinn releases a shaky breath. She's gone. Serena touches my shoulder gently. I'll file these right away. I close the door, locking it. That's it then. A hush falls across the house. Quinn wipes her tears, hurries upstairs. Serena and I exchange a somber glance. No one truly wins in a betrayal. Serena stays a bit to finalize the notary logs and to chat about the next phase, the official divorce decree, the enforcement of Lydia's monthly restitution. She also inquires about Felix's criminal liability. What do you want to do about him? She asks, sipping the coffee I offered. I press my lips together. He's the catalyst for all this. He's got a history of conning women. I'm inclined to take him down, but I also realize the bigger priority is ensuring Quinn is stable. Serena nods. If you present the evidence to the authorities, Felix could be charged with fraud or conspiracy, but that might drag Lydia into further legal scrutiny since she was complicit. I frown. So pressing charges might risk hurting her more. That indirectly hurts Quinn. Serena's eyes narrow thoughtfully. You could target him civilly or use your connections to leak his pattern of behavior to his previous victims. Let them join forces. That way, Lydia's involvement could remain minimized, since she's already signed a confession privately. A grim smile lifts one corner of my mouth. I like that. He can face a swarm of lawsuits from men he's scammed indirectly. I can feed them the relevant info. They handle the rest. She nods. That way your hands stay relatively clean and Lydia won't be forced into court again. Win-win. I take a measured breath. Yes, do it. I'll coordinate with Willis to gather the ex-husbands or other victims. Felix won't see it coming. Serena stands, packing her briefcase. As you wish. In the meantime, focus on Quinn. She needs your support more than ever. I escort Serena to the door, gratitude mingling with the heaviness in my chest. Thank you, Serena. I appreciate everything. She smiles sympathetically. Any time, Connor. Then she's gone, leaving me alone in the hushed living room, the faint coffee aroma lingering. My marriage is officially over. I find Quinn upstairs in her bedroom, curled on the bed hugging a pillow. When I gently knock, she wipes her face, gesturing for me to come in. I sit beside her, careful not to crowd. She attempts a weak smile. Dad, I'm sorry if I'm making this harder. I just can't stop crying. I wrap an arm around her shoulders. You have nothing to apologize for. This is a nightmare. I'm proud of how strong you've been. She exhales shakily. I feel so dumb, not noticing what Mom was doing earlier. You're not dumb, I say firmly. She was sneaky. She used your trust against you. Quinn's eyes fill anew with tears. Does it ever get easier letting someone go? Even though she hurt us, part of me still misses the old Mom. I swallow hard. That old version of her is gone, Quinn. We can grieve that, but we need to protect ourselves from the person she became. She nods, burying her face in my shoulder. Don't ever leave me, Dad. My heart constricts. Never, I whisper, hugging her close. We stay like that for a while. Eventually, she drifts off into a restless doze. I brush the hair from her forehead, stand quietly, and leave her room. My phone buzzes again. A message from Willis. Heard Lydia signed. Congrats on safeguarding your assets. Let's talk next moves, Felix. I type back a single word. Tonight. The confrontation with Felix looms like a thundercloud. Even though Lydia's out of my home, the tension hasn't eased. Felix is still out there, making threats. I realize I can't just wait for him to strike. I have to lure him into a final trap. Early the next morning, I phone Willis. We hash out a plan. We'll dangle bait in the form of a potential last payout from Lydia. We'll exploit Felix's desperation, drawing him into a situation where we can record him trying to extort money or threatening violence. Then we hand that recording to the men we've allied with, plus any relevant authorities or lawyers. This plan requires Lydia's cooperation and uncomfortable proposition. I have no desire to see or speak to her, but she's the only one who can realistically entice Felix to a meeting. The question is whether she'll do it. I call her phone, half expecting no answer, but she picks up on the third ring. Connor? She sounds wary, exhausted. Yeah, it's me. I need you to help me catch Felix. You can end his threats and ensure your safety if you cooperate. She's silent for a moment. He's been blowing up my phone, demanding money. I blocked him on one account, but he found other ways to contact me. I nod, though she can't see me. Exactly. So here's the plan. You arrange to meet him somewhere public, but not crowded some neutral location. Tell him you might have found a last chunk of money. I'll have my people discreetly record everything. If he incriminates himself, he goes down. She exhales shakily. Why would I help you after all that's happened? My tone is steely. Because you're in danger if he keeps hounding you for money you don't have. Because if you refuse, I might reconsider my decision not to press criminal charges against you, and because I thought you'd want him out of your life. A bitter laugh. Fine. You don't give me much choice, but if I do this, you promise I'll be safe? I bristle, but manage a calm reply. Yes. Willis and I will ensure your safety. Felix won't touch you. She's quiet, then says, text me the details. I'll do it. Willis and I spend the day coordinating every detail. We choose a parking garage near downtown semi-public, decent vantage points for hidden cameras, and enough corners to position our people. We plant small audio recorders in the designated spot, ensuring we can capture every word. I brief Quinn only partially. She's curious, but I don't want her anywhere near the potential danger. Stay home, keep your phone on, I tell her. I'll update you once it's done. She frowns. Promise me you'll be careful, Dad. Felix sounds unhinged. I soften my tone. I promise. With that, I gather a black duffel bag stuffed with worthless filler to mimic a cash load just in case Felix demands to see the money. Willis arms a concealed camera on his jacket. We drive to the designated garage an hour before the scheduled meet time to set up. Late afternoon light filters through the concrete levels of the garage, casting long shadows. I stand behind a parked SUV, eyes scanning for any sign of Felix. Lydia stands a short distance away, trembling, arms folded around herself. She looks worn out, likely hasn't slept well in days. Willis is nearby, hidden behind a pillar with a small camera lens peeking out. Two of his trusted associates circle the perimeter, ready to intervene if needed. I keep my phone on silent. The plan is for Lydia to text Felix their location, claim she has an envelope of money. Then we wait. She sends the text, her fingers shaking. He says he's on his way, she murmurs. I nod, stepping out of sight behind the SUV, ensuring I can still see her but remain hidden from Felix's direct line of vision. My heart thumps with anticipation. Breathe, Connor. Breathe. Minutes pass like hours. Then we hear footsteps echoing. Lydia stiffens, glancing around. A figure emerges from the ramp, a tall man with a hood pulled over his head, but I recognize the posture. Felix. He approaches Lydia, tension evident in his stance. "Where is it?" he demands, voice echoing in the nearly empty level. She bites her lip. I pulled together some last funds, but it's not as much as you wanted." Felix glances around, clearly suspicious. "Why here?" She forces a smile. "Fewer cameras than a bank. Are you complaining?" He snorts, stepping closer, towering over her. "Don't get snappy, Lydia. You owe me. I took big risks for you and you left me hanging." She trembles. "You took big risks? You manipulated me into betraying Connor. Don't twist the story." He grabs her wrist, voice lowering menacingly. "I'm done with your excuses. Show me the money." From my vantage point behind the SUV, I see Lydia raise her other hand, pointing to a small black duffel bag on the ground near a concrete pillar. "There. But you need to promise you'll never contact me again." Felix releases her wrist, strides to the bag, unzips it. He rifles through, presumably noticing the stacks of filler cash. His face twists with anger. "This isn't real money." Before Lydia can respond, he spins, eyes blazing. "You set me up?" She backs away, frightened. "No, I tried to gather something, but maybe Connor." He lunges, grabbing her arm. "Tell me the truth, or I'll make you regret it." At that instant, I step out, voice ringing across the concrete. "Let her go, Felix." He whips around, dragging Lydia in front of him like a shield. I see fury in his eyes. "Green, you think you're clever?" My heart pounds. I see Willis creeping behind Felix, camera rolling. Another of Willis's associates stands near an exit ramp, blocking a quick escape. "Yeah, I do," I reply, voice cold. "The game's over. We have your threats on tape, your history of cons. Let Lydia go and maybe we can talk." Felix sneers, pressing an arm across Lydia's throat. She gasps in fright. "You want to talk? I want real money, or your precious ex-wife here gets hurt." Rage bursts inside me, but I keep my voice steady. "We both know you're bluffing. You harm her, you only dig your grave deeper. Let her go, and I might not call the cops immediately." He scoffs. "Oh, you're so noble. Let's see if she's worth it to you." He tightens his grip. Lydia yelps. I step forward, fists clenched. "Don't. You have 1 minute to produce real cash, or I snap her neck." He glances around, adrenaline making his eyes wild. In the corner of my eye, I see Willis edging closer, a taser in hand. I decide to keep Felix's attention on me. "You're a desperate man, Felix. You're not thinking straight. There's no easy money here. It's done." He laughs, a hollow, frantic sound. "I'll force you to do a wire transfer, right now from your phone, or she dies." My phone is in my pocket, set to record. I keep my hands visible, slowly raising them. "I can't do a wire without the bank verifying. It'll take time." He bares his teeth, then forcibly pushes Lydia aside. She stumbles, gasping for air. He lunges for me instead. He must think that controlling me is the direct route to money. I brace, adrenaline surging. He swings a wild punch. I duck, stepping sideways. I'm no martial arts master, but I have enough army training to handle a brute. He tries again, snarling. Suddenly, Willis emerges from behind, driving the taser into Felix's side. A crackling sound echoes and Felix spasms, eyes rolling. He collapses onto the concrete, limbs twitching. Willis stands over him, breathing hard. I rush forward, ignoring the pounding in my ears. Lydia stands trembling a few feet away, tears streaming. I place a foot on Felix's shoulder, pinning him gently. He groans, disoriented. Willis nods, pointing to the camera. All recorded, including the physical assault and death threats. I exhale, heart racing. Good, he's done. As Felix groans on the floor, Lydia crumples to her knees, sobbing hysterically. I glance at her, torn between anger and pity. She's the cause of this entire fiasco, yet she nearly got strangled. "Get her out of here," I tell Willis's associate. "Make sure she's okay." The associate gently helps Lydia up and leads her away from the scene. Willis and I kneel by Felix, who's still twitching, eyes unfocused. Willis arches an eyebrow. "We call the cops or just let him scurry away to face the civil suits?" My gaze is cold. "Let's call the cops. We have enough evidence for assault, extortion, plus we can link him to other cases." Felix sputters. "You ruined me!" I lean closer, voice low. You did that yourself, pal. You should have never touched my family. He manages a ragged laugh despite the pain. Enjoy the short victory. Guys like me always slip through the cracks. I just shake my head. Not this time, Felix. Willis dials 911, briefly explaining the situation. An attempted assault in a parking garage, we have it on video. I remain by Felix's side to ensure he doesn't flee, though he barely can move. My adrenaline surges again at the memory of him threatening Lydia's life. He's lucky we used a taser, not a bullet. 15 minutes later, sirens echo. 2 squad cars pull into the garage. Uniformed officers approach cautiously, hands near their holsters. I stand back, letting them see Felix sprawled on the ground, with Willis calmly speaking to them. Willis explains we were meeting a known scammer who threatened violence. We have video proof. Another officer questions Lydia, who's still weeping in the corner. She stammers about how Felix coerced her previously, how he threatened her life tonight. The officers cuff Felix, who curses and groans. They place him in a patrol car. Another officer takes our statements. We provide the camera footage. The officer's expression grows grim as he watches the threat on playback. That's it. We have an ironclad case of assault with intent. They drive Felix away in the squad car, lights flashing. I stand there, shaky with relief, watching his silhouette vanish around the corner. He's finally caught. Willis pats my shoulder. That was intense, but it's done. Paramedics check Lydia for bruising, then release her. She remains trembling, eyes darting. I approach, feeling a swirl of complex emotions. She lifts a tear-streaked face. You saved me. I step back slightly, crossing my arms. You put yourself in that situation. I only orchestrated the sting to protect Quinn. And yes, to protect you from further stupidity. Her lips quiver. Thank you. I can't help but sigh. Get your life together, Lydia. No more ties to criminals. No more shady deals. You've got a second chance here. She sniffles, nods. I know. I'll do better. I promise. Willis checks in. We'll need you to provide a statement at the station soon, Lydia. Confirm the assault details. She nods wearily, hugging her arms around herself. I wave over one of Willis's associates. Drive her home or to a motel or wherever she's staying. He nods, guiding Lydia gently toward the exit. I stand there in the parking garage's fading light, shoulders sagging. The tension slowly ebbs, replaced by exhaustion. Felix is in custody. Lydia's presumably learned a lesson. My family might finally be free of this nightmare. After the police finish collecting statements, I climb into my car, pausing before starting the engine. My phone buzzes, Quinn's name on the screen. I answer, voice soft. Hey, it's over. Her anxious tone relaxes. You're okay? Yeah, Felix is arrested for assault, and we have it all on video. He threatened your mother, so we had him pinned. It's done. She exhales, relief evident. Thank God. I rub my eyes, exhaustion pulling at me. I'll be home soon. Just need to debrief with Willis. She sniffles. I was so worried. I kept picturing horrible scenarios. I muster a reassuring chuckle. I'm in one piece and we're safe. That's what matters. Lydia's shaken but unhurt. Good, Quinn whispers. See you soon, Dad. Willis walks over, removing his hidden camera device. He gives me a nod. We'll forward the footage to the detective in charge. They'll build a strong assault case. Considering his history, they might tack on more charges if any victims come forward. I clasp his hand. Thank you, Willis. You've been a rock through all this. He returns the handshake firmly. We're old friends, Connor. I wasn't going to let you face this alone, just glad it ended without a bullet fired. I sigh heavily. Yeah, let's hope the justice system keeps him behind bars. I'll share the news with Jared, Alvin, and any others. This should bolster their cases, too. Willis smiles. Exactly. Felix won't have the resources to fight multiple lawsuits, not after an assault charge, and his loan sharks might not be too pleased he's locked up. A pang of grim satisfaction threads through me. He burned too many bridges. Karma. We say our goodbyes. I climb into my car, turning the key. As the engine hums, I let out a long breath. Felix Monroe is finally cornered. It's nearly 8 p.m. when I reach the driveway of my house. Darkness blankets the street, porch light flickering softly. I enter the living room to find Quinn perched on the couch, eyes glued to the window. When she spots me, she leaps up, rushing over. "Dad!" She wraps her arms around me tightly. I hug her back, heart clenching with love and relief. She pulls away, searching my face. "You look exhausted. Are you sure you're okay?" I manage a small smile. "Tired, yes, but okay. Felix is in custody. The police have evidence. He won't be a threat anymore." Tears of relief shine in Quinn's eyes. "Thank God." We settle on the couch. I rub her back gently, mind reeling from the day's events. Lydia was part of the sting. Felix tried to harm her, but we intervened. Quinn shakes her head slowly. "Mom, I hope she stays out of trouble from now on. Maybe she'll realize how badly she messed up." I nod. "She'd better. The settlement stands. She'll be paying restitution. She's free from jail only because I withheld the worst charges. Maybe she'll rebuild her life." Quinn leans against me, silent for a minute. Then she says softly, "I'm so glad you're safe, Dad." I close my eyes. "Me too, kiddo. Me too." That night, Quinn and I fix a simple dinner: scrambled eggs and toast, neither of us in the mood for fancy cooking. The conversation is subdued, punctuated by the occasional sigh. But there's a sense of closure weaving through the house. Lydia's betrayal is exposed, Felix's threats neutralized. A space for healing is opening. After dinner, we lounge in the living room. I feel the need to address the emotional toll. "Quinn, I know this whole ordeal has been traumatic. If you ever want therapy or just to talk, I support you 100%. She meets my gaze, eyes soft. "Thank you. Maybe I will." I still can't wrap my head around Mom's choices, but I'm glad we can move forward now. I rest a hand on her shoulder. We'll move forward together. Later, alone in my room, I pull out an old photo album. It's from years ago. Pictures of Lydia and me traveling through Europe, holding hands, smiling at each other with genuine affection. My chest tightens. Where did that Lydia go? A swirl of sadness floods me. She was once my partner, someone I cherished. Now she's just the woman who betrayed me. Part of me hates her. Part of me still mourns what we had. I set the album aside, focusing on the future. Quinn, our stable life, the ongoing success of Summit Security Solutions. The fiasco with Lydia and Felix taught me an ugly lesson about trust and vigilance, but it won't define my entire existence. A few days pass. Willis informs me that Felix was formally charged with felony assault and extortion. He can't post bail, no money, no allies left. Alvin and Jared plan to file civil suits next week. The local press picks up a rumor about a con man trainer indicted for attacking a former client, though they spare the details. I keep my head down, not seeking publicity. Lydia texts me once. "Thank you for not letting him kill me." A short, raw message. I don't respond. She's out of my life. Quinn is my priority. At Summit Security, I bury myself in work. My employees sense a shift in me, more driven, less tolerant of nonsense. They respect it, delivering stellar performance. The board praises my unwavering focus despite personal difficulties. I keep it professional, refusing to air my personal drama. Quinn returns to her routine. School, coding, occasional meetups with friends. She still has moments of sorrow, but we talk openly. Some evenings we watch movies or cook dinners, building new memories that don't include Lydia. Step by step, we're healing. One afternoon, Quinn and I sit on the porch swing, enjoying the mild weather. She rests her head on my shoulder. "It still hurts sometimes," she admits softly. "But I'm glad we're not living in lies anymore." I press a gentle kiss to her hair. "Me too, Quinn. Transparency may be painful, but it's better than false comfort." She sighs contentedly. "What will happen to Mom? Will she ever come back?" I stroke her hair, choosing my words carefully. "I don't know. She's got monthly restitution to pay, and hopefully she'll rebuild her life ethically. Whether she returns or tries to see you is partly up to you. You have the power to decide when or if you want contact." Quinn looks at me with a hint of relief. "I might want to see her someday, but not now." I nod. "That's perfectly valid. I'll support your choice." We sway in silence on the porch swing, birds chirping in the distance. The horizon feels open, free of the shadows that once loomed. Lydia's betrayal and Felix's threats are behind us, replaced by a calm determination to move forward. Days turn into weeks. With Felix awaiting trial, news trickles in that the ex-husbands banded together, launching a civil lawsuit for damages. I encourage them from the sidelines, providing any evidence they need. Felix's future looks grim. High chance of incarceration, massive legal debt, poetic justice. During this time, Quinn flourishes in her coding competition, placing in the top brackets. I attend her final presentation, clapping proudly. She smiles from the stage, her resilience shining. We share a tearful hug afterward, acknowledging how far we've come since the meltdown. At home, we begin rearranging furniture, painting walls, giving the house a fresh atmosphere. It's our symbolic way of shaking off Lydia's ghost, forging a new environment. Quinn chooses bright teal for her bedroom. I pick a subdued gray for the office. Small steps, big meaning. One evening, after finishing the paint job in my office, I stand back, wiping sweat from my brow. Quinn snaps a playful photo capturing my messy hair and splattered clothes. We both laugh. This is life now, challenging but honest. As I collapse onto the couch, Quinn flops beside me. We share a moment of quiet contentment. The chaos is behind us, Lydia's betrayal, Felix's desperate cons. I think back to the countless nights I lay awake, haunted by suspicion and anger. Now I'm free. I glance at Quinn, who's scrolling through music playlists. She meets my gaze, offering a small grin. Dad, we made it. A warmth fills my chest. We did, and tomorrow looks brighter. Outside, the late summer sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in oranges and pinks. Our home is calmer than it's been in months. My empire, Summit Security, stands unshaken. My heart, though scarred, beats stronger for having protected what matters most. My daughter, my honor, my future. This is not a perfect fairy tale ending, but it's a genuine reprieve, a foothold on the path to real peace. Lydia might linger somewhere out there, grappling with regret. Felix rots in a jail cell, awaiting the consequences. And me? I hold Quinn close, determined to guide us toward a life built on truth, resilience, and the unbreakable bond we share. 1 week after Felix's arrest, I stand on my porch sipping coffee as the morning sun bathes the front yard. The taste is a little too bitter, or maybe that's just my mood. In theory, my problems are resolved. Lydia is out. Felix is behind bars. But the echoes of betrayal can't be excised overnight. A heaviness remains in the air. Quinn ambles onto the porch behind me, yawning. She's got dark circles under her eyes. She sets her phone on the porch rail and stretches her arms toward the sky. Late night? I ask gently. She nods. Couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything. I feel relieved Felix is locked up, but also uneasy, you know? I swirl the coffee, watching small ripples. Uneasy how? Quinn shrugs, sitting on the porch swing. He has this pattern of slipping out of tight spots. Even if the evidence is strong, who knows what he'll pull? Plus, Mom's still an emotional wreck. At the mention of Lydia, I clench my jaw. She hasn't contacted me since the sting operation, except for one brief text apologizing. She did phone Quinn twice, leaving tearful voicemails, but Quinn said she wasn't ready to talk. The restitution checks are set to start next month. Nothing changes the fact that Felix physically attacked her, I say. That alone is enough for a felony. The system isn't always perfect, but we have solid proof. Quinn sighs. I hope so. I press a hand to her shoulder, offering what reassurance I can. Don't let him haunt you. He's out of reach now. She nods, though her eyes remain clouded. We sit quietly for a few minutes, the hush of morning traffic drifting from the distance. Once we might have shared a cheerful chat about weekend plans. Now, everything is tinted by the aftermath of betrayal. Still, we're forging ahead together. Later, at Summit Security Solutions, I slip into my corner office and fire up the computer. The reflection in the monitor shows faint lines of exhaustion on my face. My executive assistant, Rachel, a capable middle-aged woman with kind eyes, taps at the door. You have a 10 a.m. call with the board, she says. They want an update on our new encryption rollout. I rub my forehead. Thanks, Rachel. I'll be ready. She hovers a second, concern in her expression. Everything okay, Mr. Green? You look worn out. I manage a tight smile. Just a rough couple of weeks, but I'm fine. She nods politely, withdrawing. She's probably heard rumors about my personal turmoil, but remains tactful. I glance at the time, mentally shifting into work mode. Focus on the job that's been my anchor through all the chaos. And ironically, Summit Security is thriving. Our corporate partners appreciate that we overcame an internal crisis with minimal disruption. The board call goes smoothly. I walk them through the encryption deployment, highlight a few deals with government clients, and field their queries about expansion. By the end, they're satisfied and even applaud my leadership. I hang up, exhaling. If only personal life was this straightforward. After lunch, I call a short meeting with my top executives to finalize next quarter's strategy. I keep it direct, detailed, and they respond with enthusiasm. In the midst of discussing a potential acquisition, my phone vibrates. Normally, I ignore personal calls during a meeting, but I spot the caller ID. It's Detective Halford, the officer assigned to Felix's case. "Gentlemen, give me a moment," I murmur, stepping out into the hallway. "Detective?" Halford's voice is calm. "Mr. Green, just giving you an update. Felix Monroe was arraigned today. Bail is set high $200,000. He doesn't appear to have the means to post it." Relief warms me. So he's staying locked up then? Likely. Court date is in about 4 weeks. The DA feels confident about the assault charge. There might be additional charges once they parse through the civil suits folks are filing. I lean against the wall, tension sliding off my shoulders. "Appreciate the update. Anything else I need to do?" Halford clears his throat. "Just be prepared to testify if needed. And we might contact Lydia Green for a statement, though we have enough from the recorded footage. Wanted you to know that." My jaw tightens at the mention of Lydia. Understood. I'm sure she'll cooperate. We end the call. I linger a moment, eyes closed, letting the news sink in. Felix is stuck behind bars, likely for a while. Perfect. Returning to the conference room, I finish the meeting with renewed energy. One of the execs, Marcus, comments on my good mood. I just nod, letting them assume it's about nailing big contracts. That evening, I arrive home early. Quinn's working on an elaborate coding project at the kitchen table, textbooks and laptops spread out. I toss my keys on the counter. "Quinn, got some news," I say. "Felix can't post bail. He's basically stuck in jail." Her face lights with cautious relief. "So he's not getting out?" I shrug. "Unless he finds a miracle $200K, but given his debts, that's unlikely." She sets her pencil down, eyes brightening. That's good. Maybe now we can fully exhale." She closes her laptop. "Dad, can we do something normal tonight, like watch a comedy or something?" A small smile. "Sure. Let's order takeout and watch that stand-up special you like." She grins, the first genuine grin I've seen in days. Deal. We order Chinese, spread the boxes on the coffee table, and settle in. The stand-up show flickers on the TV, the comedian's jokes blending into the comfortable hum of the living room. For the first time in a while, I catch myself laughing an unguarded laugh that releases pent-up stress. Quinn giggles, slurping noodles. "You know, Mom used to complain about how lame we were, laughing at corny jokes." I snort. "Yeah, well, maybe we are lame, but this is our brand of lame." She wrinkles her nose playfully. "I prefer it to being scammed any day." We clink our soda cans in a mock toast. There's a certain victory in these small, everyday moments. We survived. 3 days later, on a quiet Saturday, I'm regrouting the bathroom tiles, part of our ongoing house renewal projects, when my phone buzzes. Lydia's number. I consider ignoring it. We have nothing left to say, but I also recall the detective's mention she might need to give a statement. Sighing, I answer. "Connor," she begins, voice subdued. "What is it, Lydia?" I keep my tone civil but distant. She hesitates. "I just got served. The police want me to sign an official statement about Felix's assault. They said it'd strengthen the case. I'm so embarrassed." The neighbors saw the officer at my door. My chest tightens. "You shouldn't be embarrassed. You're a victim in that assault. But yes, you do need to finalize that statement." A tiny sob cracks in her throat. "I know. It's just everything's a mess. I'm broke, living in a cramped sublet and dealing with the restitution. Meanwhile, Quinn still won't see me." I press a hand to my forehead. "I can't force Quinn to see you. She's processing." Honestly, it might help if you gave her time and didn't push so hard. She sniffles. Easier said than done. I miss her. But I'm also so ashamed. I guess I just wanted you to know I'm not trying to dodge the cops or anything. I'll sign what they need. My response is measured. That's good. The sooner Felix's trial proceeds, the safer we all are. A pause. Then she murmurs, "Thanks. And I'm sorry." I hang up, a swirl of conflicting emotions tangling in my chest. For all her faults, Lydia is clearly in a downward spiral. But that was her choice. I can't rescue her from the consequences of her betrayal. When I tell Quinn about the call, she frowns. I don't want to hear from her. Not yet. I rub her back gently. I respect that. Just letting you know she's cooperating with the police about Felix. Quinn nods. That's something at least. She sets her jaw. Dad, is it bad that I feel no sympathy for her right now? I consider. Emotions aren't bad. They just are. You're hurt. It'll take time. Eventually, you might feel differently. Or maybe not. That's your right. She exhales. Thanks. By evening, I decide to invite an old friend to dinner, Margaret Wheeler, an ex-mentor and longtime business contact who's known me since my earliest days building Summit. She's tangentially aware of my personal drama but has kept a respectful distance. Maybe I need the company of a friend who can speak real talk. We meet at a local Italian bistro. She arrives in a sharp navy suit, hair clipped back. We share a hug, then sit at a corner table. Margaret's direct approach has always comforted me, so I anticipate some honest conversation. "How are you holding up, Connor?" she asks, swirling red wine in a stemmed glass. "I heard rumors about your divorce settlement and some scandal with a personal trainer." I snort. Rumors never get it quite right, but yes, the gist is correct. Lydia had an affair with a con man, nearly drained my accounts. He's in jail now. Margaret's eyebrows climb. My God, that's intense. Are you okay? I fold my hands on the table. I will be. Right now I'm tired emotionally, physically. Quinn's the bright spot. She nods sympathetically. I'm sorry you went through that. The professional side of me is impressed you contained the fallout so discreetly. The personal side is outraged on your behalf. I sip my water, grateful for her supportive tone. Thanks. I guess I did what I had to do. She slices into her pasta, a thoughtful expression crossing her features. Any next steps? Lawsuits? Or is the criminal case enough? I shrug. Might push some civil suits with the ex-husbands Felix scammed. I prefer letting the law handle him. As for Lydia, we're divorced in all but final form, with restitution in place. She frowns. And you, personally? I let out a long breath. I'm starting over, I guess. Keeping Summit strong, focusing on Quinn's well-being. Maybe I'll eventually consider a life outside this fiasco. Margaret's eyes glimmer kindly. You deserve happiness, Connor. Don't let her betrayal define your future. I manage a faint smile. Thanks, Margaret. I'm trying. We talk about other topics, the state of the financial markets, mutual acquaintances before parting ways with a warm hug. On the drive home, I reflect on her words. I deserve happiness. Maybe I've forgotten how to chase it amidst all the chaos. When I get home, Quinn's dozing on the couch, textbooks scattered. I drape a blanket over her, turn off the TV. Then I stand there in the dim light, pondering my conversation with Margaret. She's right. My entire identity can't remain entangled in Lydia's betrayal. I have to let go, eventually. Over the next week, I juggle parenthood, corporate duties, and an undercurrent of legal updates. The DA's office requests my presence for a pre-trial interview. They want to confirm the chain of evidence, revisit the timeline of Lydia's financial theft, and ensure I'm ready to testify if needed. I arrive at the DA's office, a utilitarian building downtown, early on a Tuesday. Assistant District Attorney Morrow, a non-nonsense woman in her 30s, greets me with a handshake. We settle in a cramped interview room, fluorescent lights casting a dull glow. She flips through a file, glancing at me over her reading glasses. Mr. Green, you submitted crucial video evidence. Our charges revolve around the assault on Miss Ida. Lydia Green, but we might expand them if we can prove Mr. Monroe orchestrated financial fraud with other victims. Are you comfortable testifying about your personal experiences? I shift in the metal chair. Yes, I can detail how Lydia was manipulated into draining our accounts, though she was also complicit. I have text logs of Felix urging her to gather more funds for him. Morrow nods. Excellent. Combined with Miss Green's statement, we have a strong case. The only wild card is if Felix's defense claims entrapment or something similar. But from your account, it seems he assaulted her unprovoked when she had no actual money. My jaw tightens. He threatened to kill her unless I provided funds. That's all on camera, too. She jots notes. Perfect. The grand jury likely won't take long. If indicted, we proceed to trial, or he might plead out. I lean forward, voice tense. I want him locked up for good, Miss Morrow. He scammed multiple families. He threatened me and my daughter, not just Lydia. She offers a thin smile. We'll do our best to ensure justice. 2 hours later, I exit the DA's office feeling wrung out, but also determined. Willis calls, checking in. I update him, and he says Jared and Alvin are finalizing their civil suit documents, anticipating Felix will be indicted soon. Everything's coming together, Willis remarks. He can't squirm away. I park outside a cafe near the office, stepping in for a coffee break. Standing at the counter, I notice a woman in a neat blazer, possibly a lawyer, rummaging in her purse. She looks vaguely familiar, maybe I've seen her at some legal function. Our eyes meet in momentary recognition. She extends a hand. Connor Green, right? Surprised, I nod. Yes. Have we met? She smiles politely. I'm Stacy Fuller, local attorney. I was in a settlement hearing last year at the same courthouse you used for some property matter. Sorry for the random approach, but I recognized you from that day. I recall vaguely signing something about a real estate venture with Serena. Right. Might have crossed paths. Nice to meet you again. She tilts her head, curiosity in her eyes. Heard a rumor about your ex-wife's fiasco. Apologies if that's personal. The legal circles do gossip. I stiffen but keep a cordial tone. It's mostly resolved now. She was involved with a con man. He's in jail. Stacy nods sympathetically. I see. Well, if you need any further legal backup, I handle family law occasionally. But it sounds like you have it under control. She hands me a business card anyway. I pocket it with a half smile. Thanks. We exchange pleasantries. She's friendly, professional, and I sense no hidden agenda. But still, the mention of rumors about my personal life gnaws at me. I hate that everything's become courthouse gossip. When I return home, Quinn is in the living room scrolling through her phone. She glances up. Dad, did you know about that local blog, Cheater Chronicles? It's basically people posting scandal stories of infidelity. I freeze. No, why? She grimaces. A friend from school texted me a screenshot. Somebody posted a rumor about a wealthy CEO whose wife was scammed by a personal trainer, clearly referencing you. It's anonymous, but the details match. My stomach twists. So the gossip is out. Great, I mutter. Well, it's not entirely inaccurate. But I'm sorry you have to see that nonsense. She sets her phone down, frustration coloring her cheeks. You can't stop people from gossiping, right? I sigh, sinking onto the couch beside her. No, our best approach is to ignore it. I'm not going to feed that drama. The truth is on our side. Quinn nods, eyes glistening. Yeah, doesn't make it any less gross, though. I wrap an arm around her shoulder. We'll ride this out. People will move on to the next scandal soon enough. That night, I toss in bed, mind swirling with the day's events. The coffee encounter with that attorney, the blog rumor, the continuing legal puzzle life just won't slow down. I recall Margaret's advice. You deserve happiness. Hard to find it amid the storm. But maybe if I keep forging forward, I'll see sunlight again. Eventually, I drift into a fitful sleep, dreaming of half-finished tile projects, glitching security monitors, and shadows lurking at the edge of my property. Symbolic, perhaps, of the lingering threat. But truly, the biggest threat is behind bars. The next few weeks bring subtle but meaningful changes, especially for Quinn. She's been accepted into a prestigious coding competition that requires an in-person final round in another city, Chicago. The irony isn't lost on me. Chicago was once a place Lydia visited with me, ironically. Now Quinn's forging her own path there. One Saturday morning, Quinn bounds into the living room, eyes shining. Dad, I got the official invite. She waves a printed email. It's happening in 3 weeks at the Lakeside Tech Center. I'll present my security software concept. I break into a proud grin. That's incredible news. Congratulations, Quinn. She squeals, hugging me. You have to come with me, obviously. I mean, I can't go alone. Plus, you might appreciate the chance to see some advanced security concepts and moral support. I chuckle. Count me in. We'll make it a father-daughter trip. Maybe catch some deep dish pizza while we're there. She beams. Yes, thank you. In that moment, I feel a surge of warmth. For all the darkness we endured, Quinn is thriving. That's worth every struggle. Later that day, we plan the trip details. Booking flights, a modest hotel near the tech center. Quinn pores over the coding competition schedule, deciding which workshops to attend. I watch her from across the table, remembering the anxious, heartbroken girl she was a few months ago. Now she's stepping into the spotlight. After a lull in conversation, she looks up. Mom doesn't even know about this, does she? I shift uncomfortably. I haven't told her. Do you want me to? She nibbles her lip. I'm not sure. Part of me wants her to see how great I'm doing, but another part doesn't want her anywhere near it. I nod. It's your call. We have no obligation to inform her. Quinn sighs. Let's not then. She can find out later if she's paying attention. That afternoon, I pick up paint samples from the hardware store Quinn wants to repaint the hallway in a bright, cheery shade. As I'm browsing, a woman about my age, in paint-stained overalls, strikes up a chat about color palettes. She's a local painter, Heather, friendly and talkative. She mentions how color can transform the energy of a space, referencing her own personal story of divorce and renewal. Without giving details, I say, I'm also recently out of a marriage, doing these paint jobs to start fresh, I guess. Heather nods sympathetically. I get it. Painting walls can be surprisingly cathartic. It's like physically changing your environment helps shift your mindset. Though it's a casual conversation, I sense a chord of truth. Physically changing my environment helps me psychologically purge Lydia's influence. We exchange a small smile. I thank her for the tips, then move on. But the thought lingers. It's more than just paint. Back home, Quinn helps me test samples on the hallway walls. She picks a bold aqua that she insists will wake us up every morning. I grin at her enthusiasm, letting her roll the paint while I hold the tray. Our banter is light talk of coding, next year's college applications, the possibility of a father-daughter road trip after Chicago. A sense of normalcy is settling in. A few days later, Quinn's phone buzzes while we're watching a documentary on cybersecurity. She sighs, glancing at the screen. Mom again, she mutters. She declines the call, but then it rings again immediately. Her eyes flick to me. Should I answer? I pause the documentary, heart tensing. Only if you want to. I won't push you. She hesitates, then swipes to accept. Hello? I hear Lydia's muffled voice but can't catch the words. Quinn's jaw tightens. After a moment, she says, Fine, put him on. She looks at me, eyes wide. She's with Grandpa. He wants to say hi. I stiffen. Lydia's father, Jerome Keller, is an old-fashioned man who never liked me much, though we tolerated each other. He's had health issues in the past. Quinn covers the phone's mic. Should I talk to him? I nod. He's your grandfather. Up to you. She sighs, then speaks into the phone. Hi, Grandpa. I'm good. Yeah, school's fine. No, I'm not upset with you. It's just... She glances at me, discomfort in her eyes. Mom? I don't know about that. Maybe I'll think about it. Her voice grows tight. Look, I gotta go. Bye. She ends the call, letting out a shaky breath. He was guilt-tripping me, telling me how sad Mom is, then asked if I'd visit them both next weekend. I told him I might think about it. I raise an eyebrow. Do you want to? She stares at the phone. Not really, but Grandpa's health is fragile. I do love him, even if he can be pushy. I rest a hand on her shoulder. You can see your grandfather without automatically reconciling with your mom. Maybe meet him somewhere neutral, or schedule a video chat if that's easier. She nods, though tears glisten in her eyes. I hate that everything's tangled. Can't I just see Grandpa without Mom's drama? I give her a gentle hug. I'm sorry, Quinn. This is the aftermath we can't fully escape. That night she wrestles with the decision. Ultimately, she decides to text Jerome that she'll FaceTime him, but not physically visit until she feels ready. He replies curtly, blaming me, no doubt. She shows me the text. If Connor hadn't driven Lydia away, our family wouldn't be in pieces. That stings, but I swallow my anger. He's old, set in his ways. She's the one who cheated. Quinn murmurs, tears brimming. It's so unfair that people blame you. I sigh heavily. That's life, kiddo. People believe what they want. Focus on your truth. We both know how it went down. She leans into me, and I kiss her temple. I'm sorry it's this messy, I whisper. A day later, Quinn does a short FaceTime with her grandfather, stepping into her room for privacy. When she returns, she looks exhausted. She shrugs when I meet her gaze. He kept talking about how depressed Mom is, how she regrets everything, hopes I'll forgive her. I said I need more time. He acted all offended, said we're a family. I told him Mom basically ended that unity. I rub her back. He's in denial. Or he's from a generation that sees marriage differently. Either way, you held your ground. She nods, tears slipping. I just want peace. I gather her into a hug. We'll find it. Baby steps. That weekend, I see a random deposit in my joint checking account. $500 from Lydia, labeled Restitution 1. A swirl of emotions hits me. This monthly payment is part of her punishment and her penance. Quinn sees me checking the statement on my phone and glances away. It's weird, right? She whispers. Getting money from her? I nod, throat tight. Yeah, but it's the agreement. She frowns. Will it ever feel normal? I let out a slow breath. Probably not. But let's not let it define us. The following Tuesday, Detective Halford calls with a short update. Felix's grand jury indicted him for felony assault and attempted extortion. The formal trial could start in a month unless Felix pleads out. I relay this news to Quinn over dinner. She stabs a piece of broccoli. So we might have to testify in court? Possibly. Or he might strike a deal. The DA said he's facing a robust case. She chews thoughtfully. Part of me hopes it goes to trial so he faces maximum shame, but also I hate the idea of seeing him again. I reach for her hand across the table. You'd do great if you had to testify, but we'll see how it plays out. Quinn nods, forcing a smile. Thanks, Dad. On Friday, Margaret Wheeler invites me to a small business dinner with potential international partners. She knows I've been reclusive, dealing with personal matters, so maybe this is her gentle push to re-engage socially. After some internal debate, I accept, leaving Quinn with a neighbor friend. We gather at a fancy hotel lounge downtown. The vibe is sophisticated suits, cocktail dresses, mild jazz music floating overhead. Margaret greets me warmly, introducing me to a cluster of foreign investors. I slip into professional charm mode, discussing Summit Securities' expansions. It feels odd, stepping back into high-level networking after months of personal drama. During a lull, Margaret murmurs, "See? It's good to be out in the world again, right?" I swirl my ginger ale. Yes, I guess so. Hard to shift from father dealing with betrayal to corporate executive. She smiles gently. Both can coexist. You're doing well, Connor. The evening flows smoothly. I handle questions about security software, nod politely at comments about the personal challenges I overcame, which Margaret must have discreetly mentioned. By the time I leave, I sense a renewed confidence. I can do this. My identity is more than Lydia's betrayal. Later that night, I check my phone. A missed call from Lydia. No voicemail. I shrug it off, not in the mood to decode her intentions. That's my new boundary. I only engage if necessary. Flicking off the porch light, I enter the house quietly. Quinn's asleep. I tiptoe to her room, peek inside. She's sprawled on the bed, one arm hugging her pillow. Peaceful. At least she's found some rest. Time marches on, bringing the date of Quinn's coding competition in Chicago. We fly out on a brisk Thursday morning, Quinn buzzing with excitement, me quietly proud. The plane ride is uneventful, giving us a chance to chat about how she'll present her security software concept. Think the judges will grill me on encryption specifics? She asks, flipping through her notes. I grin. Possibly, but you know your stuff. You might dazzle them. She blushes happily. You're biased. We land at O'Hare, navigate baggage claim, then grab a taxi to the Lakeside Tech Center. Quinn's chatter about encryption, user interfaces, and data analytics floods the ride. I let her enthusiasm wash over me like a balm. This is what normal father-daughter life feels like, untainted by betrayal. The competition's opening ceremony is in a large auditorium, brimming with students from across the region. Quinn signs in, collects her badge. I wander the hall, noticing sponsors' booths, tech displays. My phone vibrates. Lydia texting again. Ignore. Focus on Quinn. She tugs my sleeve. They're calling my group for orientation. I'll catch you after? I give her a thumbs up. Go show them what you've got. She disappears into a throng of bright-eyed competitors. I roam around, pausing at a booth that showcases intrusion detection software, reminiscent of Summit's early prototypes. Nostalgia hits me. I started like these kids, hungry to solve security puzzles. A few hours later, Quinn emerges from orientation, face flushed with excitement. Dad, it's so cool. They have labs set up. We'll do an overnight hackathon tomorrow. I'll present on Sunday morning. They gave us a schedule. She waves a glossy brochure. I notice the warm flush of determination in her eyes. Proud of you, Quinn. Let's celebrate your first day with pizza. She laughs. Yes, please. We grab a taxi to a famed Chicago pizzeria. Over slices of deep dish pepperoni, we talk about everything but Lydia. She mentions a few new friends she made in orientation, kids from tech-focused high schools. She's clearly in her element. Halfway through dinner, her phone buzzes. She glances at it, frowns. Mom again. I'll just send a text that I'm busy. I nod, focusing on another slice. My appetite dampens slightly, reminded that Lydia's overshadowing presence never fully vanishes. Still, I push it aside. This weekend is for Quinn. That evening, we crash at a modest hotel near the tech center. I let Quinn have the bed while I take the pull-out couch, not wanting to pay for separate rooms on a short trip. She's up late tinkering on her laptop, finalizing code. I watch from my makeshift bed, heart swelling with pride. She's unstoppable. Eventually, we doze off, lulled by the city's faint hum outside. Before sleep claims me, I reflect on how far we've come. From frantic crisis to a father-daughter weekend in a new city, chasing her dreams. The ache of betrayal still simmers, but overshadowed by a stronger sense of renewal. Saturday is jam-packed with competition events. Quinn heads off early to the hackathon lab. I volunteer to help staff direct lost parents or participants, just to stay close in case Quinn needs me. The building buzzes with creative energy rows of computers, coffee stations, excited chatter about coding solutions. Around noon, I step outside for fresh air and nearly run into Willis. Surprised, I blink. Willis? What the hell are you doing here? He offers a sheepish grin. Your phone was off. I tried calling. We had a lead. An old colleague of Felix who might have more info. Turns out he's from Chicago. I wanted to do a quick interview. Also, I figured I'd surprise you. See Quinn's competition. Mind if I watch? I chuckle. Of course not. Quinn will love seeing you. He claps my shoulder. Thanks. And hey, good luck to her. Back inside, Quinn is busy in the coding area, headphones on, so we just wave from a distance. I lead Willis to a lounge area. He updates me on Felix's case. The DA's still preparing. No plea deal offered yet. The civil suits from Jared and Alvin are moving forward. Then Willis hushes, voice tense. By the way, Lydia might be in Chicago, too. My stomach drops. What? Why? He shrugs. She apparently contacted you multiple times, right? Could be she wanted to see Quinn's presentation, or she's messing around. I'm not sure, but one of my contacts said they spotted her near the Lakeside Tech Center. Could be coincidence. I rub my temple, exasperated. Terrific. Quinn specifically didn't want her here. Willis nods sympathetically. I just wanted to warn you. If you see her, might get awkward. I sigh. We'll cross that bridge if we come to it. Thanks for the heads up. Late afternoon, Quinn bursts out of the coding lab, beaming. Dad, I solved a major encryption puzzle. The mentor said it was the fastest solution they've seen. She notices Willis. Hey, you came? Willis grins. Surprise cameo. Congratulations on rocking the puzzle. She glances shyly. Thanks. Then her eyes flick around. Dad, can we get coffee? I need a boost for tonight's hackathon. We find a small cafe within the building. Quinn chatters excitedly about her code's architecture while sipping iced coffee. Willis and I share amused looks. This is the bright future we want for her creative, unstoppable, not overshadowed by betrayal. But partway through, Quinn's phone buzzes. She checks it, frowns. "Mom again," she mutters, showing me a text. "I'm near Lakeside. Please let me see you. I want to watch you present." Quinn's expression darkens. She sets her phone down. She's literally here? Why can't she respect my space? Willis and I exchange looks. I rest a hand on Quinn's shoulder. We can ignore her. Or if you want, I can handle it. This weekend is your moment. She sighs, eyes stormy. "Handle it, please. I don't want her just showing up and making a scene." Willis nods. "We'll keep an eye out for her. Don't stress." Quinn exhales, returning to her code talk. But I see tension in her posture. Damn it, Lydia. Night falls. Quinn is immersed in the hackathon, pulling an all-nighter. I linger in a lounge area with Willis, occasionally napping or reading, ready to escort Quinn back to the hotel if needed. The building's half-lit, scattered groups of coders tapping away, energy drinks lining the tables. Around 2 a.m., I wander the halls to stretch my legs. Rounding a corner, I nearly collide with Lydia. She looks worn, dark circles under her eyes, hair messy. I freeze, adrenaline spiking. "You are here," I say, voice low. "Why?" She gives a tired shrug. "I wanted to see Quinn, support her big moment. I didn't plan to ambush her, I swear. But she won't respond to my calls." I glare. "She asked me to keep you away. She's not ready to face you." Her eyes glisten. "I'm not trying to barge in. Just if she changes her mind, I'd be in the audience quietly cheering." My anger smolders. "You should have asked before flying here. This is her event, not your stage for redemption." She bows her head, tears slipping. "I know. I'm sorry. I just hoped seeing me might show I'm proud of her. Everything I do is wrong, apparently." I scowl. "Actions have consequences. She's not ready. Respect that." Lydia's shoulders slump. "All right, I'll go. Just if she wants to talk at all, let me know." She hands me a scribbled note with a local phone number. "My number while I'm here." I grip the note, jaw tight. "Fine. Now leave." She nods, tears streaking down her cheeks as she turns and walks away. I stand there trembling with anger, pity, frustration. Why can't she just let Quinn have this? I return to the lounge, mention the incident to Willis. He curses under his breath. Should we alert security to keep her out? I rub my forehead, exhausted. Let's see if she actually leaves. She seemed genuine about not wanting a scene. If I see her again, I'll ask for help. He nods, checking the time. Crazy that she flew out here. Must be desperate. I grunt, sinking into a chair. Desperate or manipulative, I'm done analyzing her motives, as long as she doesn't harass Quinn. By 6 a.m., Quinn emerges, bleary-eyed but triumphant. We finished the prototype for the hackathon. I'm going back to the hotel to shower, then final presentations start at 9. I rise, offering her a supportive pat on the back. Let's go, champ. She yawns, leaning into me. Can't wait to crash after this, but I'm pumped. We walk out, Willis trailing behind. I discreetly scan the corridors for any sign of Lydia. Nothing. Maybe she took the hint. Sunday morning arrives, bright and cool. Quinn stands backstage at the Lakeside Tech Center's auditorium, fiddling nervously with note cards. Her code project is loaded on a laptop, ready to demo. I rest a comforting hand on her shoulder. You've got this, I murmur. She breathes deeply. Right. I just want it to go well. Willis, seated in the front row, gives us a thumbs up. The audience is full of proud parents, mentors, and tech enthusiasts. Quinn's up second in her group. Tension thrums in the air. Finally, the MC calls her name, Quinn Green, presenting a new approach to real-time encryption. Quinn steps onto the stage to modest applause. I slip into a seat near Willis, heart pounding. Go get him, kiddo. Her voice is slightly shaky at first, but she quickly finds her rhythm, explaining how standard encryption protocols can be optimized using parallel processing. She demonstrates a live test, encrypting a sample file in half the usual time. The overhead projector shows her code in real time. A murmur of appreciation spreads through the crowd. The judges nod, impressed. One judge asks a pointed question about potential vulnerability. Quinn answers calmly. referencing specific code lines. Another judge inquires about scaling. She outlines future expansions. Each question she handles with poise. My chest swells with pride. My brilliant daughter. When she finishes, the auditorium claps heartily, some cheers from her new coder friends. Quinn beams, stepping off stage. I stand to hug her. She nearly collapses into my arms, relief and joy radiating. Willis gives her a playful punch on the shoulder. Amazing. You looked like a pro up there. Her eyes shine. Thanks. I'm so relieved that's over. The next few presenters go on, some strong, some less polished. We watch politely. Quinn sits beside me, exhaustion and excitement mingling on her face. Then the final group steps down, and the judges retreat to deliberate. There's a half-hour break before they announce winners. I lead Quinn to a quiet corner in the lobby, offering her water. No matter what, you were incredible, I say softly. She smiles, leaning against me. I'm just proud I finished without fainting. Thanks for believing in me, Dad. Emotion wells up. Always. As people shuffle back into the auditorium, an uneasy prickle crawls up my neck. I spot Lydia standing at the far entrance, partially hidden by a pillar. She's watching Quinn from a distance, a longing expression on her face. My heart pounds with protectiveness. Damn it, she's still here. Quinn doesn't notice yet. She's chatting with Willis about encryption improvements. I slip away, approach Lydia, voice low. I told you to leave. She lifts her hands in a placating gesture. I'm not interfering. I just want to see if she wins. I glare. She explicitly said she doesn't want you around. Respect her boundary. Tears rim her eyes. Let me watch from here, please. I'll be gone right after. Before I can retort, the overhead speakers crackle the awards ceremony is starting. My hands clench into fists. I debate forcibly removing Lydia or calling security. But something in her expression, raw heartbreak, makes me pause. Let her see from a distance, so long as she doesn't approach Quinn. Fine, I hiss. Stay hidden. Don't you dare approach her. She nods, tears slipping as she shrinks back behind the pillar. I hurry to rejoin Quinn near the front. The head judge steps on stage, microphone in hand. Welcome back. We had many impressive presentations. Our top 3 winners each showed exceptional innovation. Third place goes to Adrian Markham from Redwood High. Applause. Quinn crosses her fingers, biting her lip. My heart thumps. Second place is announced. A girl from a STEM academy. Finally, the judge beams. And first place for an ingenious approach to parallel encryption, Quinn Green. Quinn's jaw drops. The auditorium erupts in cheers. I whoop, clapping furiously. Willis stands, cheering. Quinn stumbles on stage, receiving a small trophy and a handshake from the judge. Tears of joy shine in her eyes. She thanks them breathlessly, the crowd applauding. I watch, chest overflowing with pride. My little girl, a champion coder. Damn right she is. She rushes back, hugging me fiercely. Dad, I can't believe it. First place. I grin, eyes misty. Believe it, you earned every bit. Willis snaps photos, praising her. Future star in the security world. Amid the bustle, Quinn's new coder friends gather to congratulate her. They laugh, plan to keep in touch, maybe collaborate on future projects. The energy is electric. My spirit soars. But out of the corner of my eye, I see Lydia near the pillar, tears running down her cheeks, hands clutched over her mouth. She's silently mouthing, I'm proud of you, or something akin. Quinn remains unaware. I wait telling Quinn, but she's so happy I don't want to darken the moment. Let Lydia stand in the shadows. She made her choice. Once the ceremony ends, people scatter. Quinn is bombarded by well-wishers. She's glowing, hugging the trophy. I exchange a glance with Willis, who nods he's going to slip away. I have that meeting about Felix's contact, he explains. Catch you later. Quinn and I head toward the exit, collecting her laptop and ID badge. The evening sky outside is a deep purple city light sparkling. She's on cloud 9, babbling about the judge's feedback. We step onto the sidewalk. Then Quinn stiffens, eyes locking onto a figure across the street. Lydia stands there, gaze fixed on Quinn, tears glinting under the street lamp. Quinn's breath catches. She turns to me, mouth trembling. Dad, did you know she was here? I let out a resigned sigh. Yeah, she wanted to watch from a distance. I told her not to approach you. I'm sorry. Quinn's face twists with conflicting emotions: anger, sadness, longing. She tightens her grip on the trophy. "Let's just go," she says, stepping toward the waiting taxi. But Lydia moves closer, raising a tentative hand. "Quinn! Congratulations, I heard you got first place. I'm so proud." Quinn halts, turning. Her voice emerges thick. "You had no right to be here." Lydia's tears flow. I had to see you shine. Please! Quinn's shoulders shake, tears brimming. "You're not part of my life anymore. You gave that up." Lydia sobs softly. "I know, but I love you. I'm sorry, Quinn." I place a protective hand on Quinn's back. She's trembling, tears slipping down her cheeks. For a moment, she looks like she might fling herself into Lydia's arms, but then she closes her eyes, steels herself, and spins away. "Dad, let's go. Now." We slip into the taxi. I give the driver the hotel address. Lydia stands on the curb, shoulders heaving with sobs, the city lights reflecting on her tear-streaked face. In the back seat, Quinn clutches the trophy, tears dripping onto it. My heart aches. "You all right, sweetie?" She shakes her head, voice broken. "I hate this." She messed up so bad, but seeing her cry, it hurts. I rub her arm gently. "You're allowed to feel that. It's complicated." She sniffles, pressing her forehead to the seat. I wanted to show her my trophy, show her I'm okay. But I also want her gone. It's so confusing, Dad. "I'm sorry," I whisper, hugging her. "It's normal to have mixed feelings. That's part of healing. You don't have to make any big decisions now." She just sobs softly into my shoulder, trophy clasped between us, a bittersweet end to her shining moment. Back at the hotel, we skip dinner, Quinn too upset to eat. She collapses on the bed, hugging a pillow while I sit beside her. She eventually dozes off. I stroke her hair gently, chest heavy with the knowledge that Lydia's presence overshadowed Quinn's triumph. Curse you, Lydia, for picking now to show up. Somewhere around midnight, Quinn stirs, blinking at me. "Dad, sorry I freaked out." I hush her. "Nothing to apologize for. Your feelings are valid." She sighs, wiping her eyes. "It's just, for a moment, I remembered all the times she was a supportive mom, cheering me on. Then I remembered how she nearly ruined our family. I can't reconcile those two images." I stroke her hand. "I understand. You don't have to figure it out tonight. Let yourself feel what you feel." She nods, exhausted. "Thanks, Dad." She glances at the trophy on the nightstand. "At least we have a success story, right?" I manage a smile. "We sure do, champion." The next morning, we check out, taxi to the airport. Quinn is subdued but calmer. She clutches her trophy, which we carefully wrapped in bubble wrap for the flight. Before boarding, we share a quick breakfast. She's quiet, nibbling a muffin. Then she looks at me, voice thin. "Dad, I realized something. I do want to eventually talk to Mom, not to reconcile fully, but to find closure. Just not right now." I nod, swallowing a lump in my throat. "Whenever you're ready, I support you." She offers a small, grateful smile. "Thanks." The flight home is uneventful. Quinn dozes, the trophy in her lap. I stare out the window at the clouds, mind drifting to Lydia's tearful face. A pang of pity cuts through me. She reaped what she sowed, but that doesn't erase the shared past. Then I refocus on Quinn. She's the priority. She deserves a mother who didn't betray us, but that mother's gone. Back home, we're greeted by the familiar hush of our renewed living space. Quinn places the trophy on the mantel. "I want to see it every day," she declares. Then we both exhale as if stepping into fresh air after a cramped room. This Chicago trip was a success overshadowed by old ghosts, but we navigated it together. I'm on the porch, coffee in hand, feeling the cool bite of the air on my face. Quinn steps out wearing slippers, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Quinn, yawning. "Morning, Dad. You're up early." Me, sipping coffee. "Didn't sleep well. Too much on my mind." She leans on the railing, gaze drifting to the neighbor's dog trotting along the fence. Quinn, "I had a dream last night that we were all living together again. Mom was normal. Felix never existed. Then I woke up, realized it was just a dream." My heart tightens. I set down the mug, wanting to comfort her. Me. It's natural to wish it was a bad dream, but we're forging a better reality now, just differently than we expected. She nods, tears threatening. Right. After a few moments, we wander inside. I rummage in the fridge, pulling out eggs and some leftover spinach. Me. How about an omelet? You need a good breakfast. Quinn half smiles. Sure, with extra cheese, please. While whisking eggs, we slip into a casual conversation about her upcoming coding club meeting. She's revamping the school's official website as part of a volunteer project. Quinn. I might incorporate a dynamic encryption layer for staff logins. My teacher says it's overkill, but I want to practice. Me, impressed grin. You never do anything halfway, do you? She shrugs, a spark of pride in her eyes. Guess I learned from you. The TV in the living room hums with background noise. A reporter discusses a local scandal unrelated to us, but the gist is money laundering scheme uncovered. Quinn glances over, expression darkening. Quinn. So many people scamming each other. Feels like the world is full of them. Me. It can feel that way, but there's also a lot of honest folks. We just have to be careful. She gives me a long look. I used to think Mom was the most honest person. She never lied about anything until she did. I turn back to the omelet on the stove, voice subdued. People can surprise you, good or bad. A typical day in our life now. Quinn leaves for school around 7:30 a.m. She's mostly self-sufficient, but I've started driving her again some mornings, enjoying the conversation. She used to prefer the bus or rides with friends, but we relish father-daughter time now. One afternoon, I pick her up. She slides into the passenger seat, dropping her heavy backpack at her feet. Quinn. Club meeting was so great. We tested a new firewall design. Blew the teacher's mind. Me, smiling. I'd expect nothing less. Quinn, hesitant. One classmate asked about my mom. She's heard rumors that she ran off with some guy. It was awkward. My grip tightens on the steering wheel. I'm sorry you have to field those questions. I hope you told them politely to mind their business. She chuckles dryly. Basically. The rumors in school are half-baked. I just said it's complicated. We're fine now. I nod, pulling out of the parking lot. She's learning to handle the gossip with grace. At home, Quinn spreads out her textbooks on the living room floor. She's got advanced math homework, plus coding side projects. I glance up from the couch where I'm reviewing a Summit security contract. Me. Need help with the math? She shakes her head. No, I'm good. Just focusing. Suddenly the doorbell rings. She tenses. Who's that? I stand, cautious. Through the peephole, it's just a package delivery. We both exhale relief. We've become jumpy, half expecting Lydia or unexpected drama. I sign for the package some new server hardware I'd ordered. Quinn resumes her homework, shoulders still a bit tense but gradually relaxes. Arriving at the airport, Quinn lugs her suitcase, eyes shining at the bustle around us. Quinn. I haven't flown since that Florida trip years ago. Me. You were, what, 10? And we had that fiasco with lost baggage. She snickers. Mom was so mad that day. She threatened to sue the airline. An awkward pause. Mom references are loaded now. Quinn's smile fades, but she rallies. Anyway, let's hope this trip is smoother. We check in, past security, Quinn marveling at the array of shops. I buy her a travel pillow. She jokes about how she'll do all her coding and sleep on the plane. Once seated, Quinn fiddles with her laptop, though the flight attendant instructs her to wait till cruising altitude. She gazes out the window as we take off, city lights falling away beneath us. Quinn, softly. Kind of symbolic, leaving all that behind, even if it's just for a few days. Me, squeezing her hand. Exactly. This is your weekend of achievements. Focus on that. She offers a grateful nod, then dozes off with her headphones. I watch her sleep, a swirl of protective love filling me. We're literally soaring above the old wounds for a moment. After landing in Chicago, we find our modest hotel. The receptionist eyes Quinn's excited chatter and smiles. Visiting for the coding competition? Quinn nods proudly. We haul our luggage upstairs. Inside the small room, Quinn flops on the bed. This place is simple, but I like it. Me. Just a base camp. We'll be at the tech center mostly. She rummages in her suitcase for her special hoodie covered in code references. I want to look the part, she jokes. I grin, feeling a pang of admiration. On the plane ride home, Quinn dozes off, hugging her trophy. I stare at her peaceful expression, recalling how this could have been overshadowed by Lydia's presence. My thoughts roam to the ephemeral image of Lydia crying on the curb. She looked heartbreakingly human. I recall an old memory, Lydia holding a baby Quinn, rocking her gently, singing lullabies with unwavering devotion. That Lydia, did she vanish entirely? Or did she just lose herself in Felix's illusions? I'll never know for sure. Me. Internal monologue. I can hate what she did. But some corner of my heart acknowledges the good times. I won't let that overshadow my duty to protect Quinn. From the airport, we drive back to the house. It's dusk, the sky tinted with orange and pink. Quinn rests her head on the window. Feels like we left for months, not just a weekend. I nod, navigating the familiar streets. Trips can do that, cram so much emotion into a short span. She sighs. I still can't believe I saw Mom in the crowd. Part of me wonders if I should have said more. I tap the steering wheel, carefully choosing words. No regrets. You handled it how you felt was right in the moment. She sniffles, nodding. Healing is messy. We tumble inside, dropping suitcases. Quinn carefully sets her trophy on the mantel, adjusting it to catch the best light. Quinn, tired smile. Dad, I want to keep that there forever. Me, warm grin. Fine by me. You earned it, champ. She hugs me tight, burying her face in my chest. Thanks for everything. Later, we're unwinding on the couch, watching a silly sitcom. Quinn suddenly mutes the TV. Quinn, Dad, remember you said I can decide when to talk to Mom? Me, yes. She fiddles with her phone. I think I might text her tomorrow. Just a short message about me being okay and thanking her for coming, even if I couldn't handle seeing her. My chest constricts. If that feels right, do it. Don't feel pressured to say more than you're comfortable with. She nods slowly. I'm tired of carrying anger all the time. Maybe I need a small step. Felix's trial date approaches. I receive updates from the DA. Felix's lawyer suggests a plea deal, possibly 35 years in prison if he pleads guilty to assault and extortion. He may accept, given the overwhelming evidence. Jared and Alvin push their civil suits, likely to attach restitution demands to any settlement. Good he'll be hammered from all sides. Lydia continues sending monthly checks. The second one arrives on schedule, $500 again, labeled Restitution 2. She also texts Quinn sporadically mellow messages. Hope you're well. Proud of you. Quinn sometimes replies, a sentence or two, carefully guarded. She's not ready for face-to-face, but she's not shutting her mother out entirely. Progress in a slow, cautious way. At school, Quinn is somewhat of a mini-celebrity for her coding achievements. She's been featured in the local news. Teen coder wins top encryption award. She shrugs off the attention with humility, but I see how it bolsters her self-esteem. She's planning more advanced projects, maybe an internship at Summit Security. I'd welcome her brilliance there eventually. We finish painting the hallway aqua. Quinn jokes it's so bright she needs sunglasses each morning. I laugh, telling her it's a symbol of new beginnings. We also reorganize the living room, discarding old furniture that Lydia picked. The space feels ours now. Quinn even crocheted a small blanket to drape over the couch. She's branching into new hobbies, finding joy in creation. One Sunday, she helps me drag a bulky old recliner to the curb. We flop onto the porch swing, panting, arms sore. Quinn, laughing. That recliner was the most comfortable seat, though. Why are we tossing it? Me. It's worn out, plus too many memories of me dozing off while Lydia was out working late. Time for a fresh start. She nods, understanding. Margaret invites me to another business dinner. This time, I decline politely. Quinn and I have a father-daughter movie night planned. She praises me for prioritizing family. Balance is key. Quinn and I watch a Marvel film, munching popcorn. During a lull, she glances at me, eyes thoughtful. Quinn. Dad, do you think you'll ever date again? I nearly choke on popcorn. That's sudden. She shrugs, half smiling. I know we're good, just us, but you deserve companionship. Mom's not coming back and you shouldn't have to be alone. I exhale, pondering. I haven't thought much about it, to be honest. Been focused on you, the aftermath. Quinn, I get it. No rush. Just saying I'd be okay with it if you found someone nice. A gentle warmth spreads in my chest. Thank you. That means a lot. Willis calls one afternoon with the final word on Felix's case. He accepted the plea deal, 4 years in state prison, plus mandatory restitution to Jared and Alvin. The judge might add more if any new victims come forward. Looks like that's the end for him. I sink into my office chair, relief flooding me. 4 years a decent chunk of time. Willis snorts. Better than nothing. He'll come out broke, friendless, and hopefully too old to con again. I hum. He tried to ruin me. Instead, he destroyed himself. Quinn finishes her junior year with top grades, excited for senior year. She's on track for scholarships, colleges scouting her. Our relationship is strong late-night chats about coding, weekend hikes to clear our minds, dinners that no longer feel overshadowed by fear. I notice how her laughter comes more easily now, her phone ring not automatically triggering anxiety. We're healing. Occasionally, Lydia texts me updates about her living situation. She's found a small marketing gig at a new firm. She remains contrite in her messages, never demanding anything. I keep responses curt but civil. Quinn has begun sending occasional texts, short but polite. I sense they might meet face-to-face eventually on Quinn's terms. One afternoon, I rummage in a closet for something and stumble on our old wedding album. My instinct is to toss it. Instead, I place it in a box labeled Past. I carry the box to the attic, setting it among dusty holiday decorations. No need to destroy it, but I don't want it displayed. This small act feels like a final goodbye to that chapter. Summit Security thrives. I attend an industry conference, field compliments on my cool resilience during personal hardship. I remain tight-lipped about specifics. My employees sense a calmer version of me, ironically. Freed from suspicion at home, I can invest mental energy in strategic growth. We secure 2 new government contracts. The board is elated. Margaret corners me at the conference, giving me a half-joking wink. So, rumor says you're unstoppable now, both personally and professionally. I chuckle. Rumors love to exaggerate. She lifts her glass of sparkling water. Here's to your new chapter, Connor. By the time Quinn's senior year starts, she's a recognized figure in the local tech scene. She organizes a mini hackathon at her high school. I sponsor it through Summit Security, providing some resources. She's grateful, hugging me in front of her classmates. The synergy feels right. Father supporting daughter's dreams. We're a team. One evening, she checks the mail, producing Lydia's 3rd restitution check. She tosses it on the counter, sighing. Weird how money arrives monthly, like clockwork. Hard to believe it's from my mother. I put a hand on her shoulder. It's the legal arrangement. She's fulfilling her end. Quinn nods slowly. I guess that's something. A few weeks later, Quinn mentions she's texted Lydia about a small local cafe meeting, just the 2 of them. She wants to gauge if Lydia can behave calmly. My stomach tightens, but I keep my voice supportive. You sure you're ready? She shrugs, wincing. I'm not sure, but I feel like I need to try. I have questions only she can answer. I take her hands gently. I respect that. Let me know if you need backup, or if you want me nowhere near it. Quinn offers a faint smile. Thanks, Dad. I'll be okay, I think. On a crisp Saturday morning, Quinn heads out for the short meetup with Lydia. She insists on going alone. My anxiety spikes, but I trust her. I pace the living room, waiting for updates. 2 hours later, she returns, face pale. I hurry to greet her. Me. You okay? She sets down her purse, exhaling. We talked. She apologized again, said she regrets everything, but didn't offer many new explanations beyond I was unhappy, got seduced by Felix's illusions. She cried a lot, asked me to let her back in my life. I watch her carefully. How did you respond? Quinn, I said I might be open to baby steps, maybe an occasional coffee, but that I can't forget or undo her betrayal. She said she understood. She sinks onto the couch, watery-eyed. It was emotional, but I didn't break down or anything. I realized I can pity her, while still not trusting her fully. I sit beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. That's valid. Trust has to be rebuilt, if ever. Quinn nods. At least I feel lighter, like I faced the demon. That night, after Quinn goes to bed, I step onto the porch, letting the cool breeze wash over me. I recall the earliest days of suspicion, that $20,000 withdrawal, the web of lies unraveling, the heartbreak. Now, months later, Lydia is a diminished figure, paying restitution, seeking partial forgiveness. Felix is locked up, likely for years. Quinn is forging a bright future, crowned by her coding triumph. We survived. I close my eyes, inhaling the fresh air. It was hell. But maybe this is redemption. No illusion scars remain. Yet we're free from that swirling chaos. My heart feels open to the possibility of new beginnings, something I never thought possible during those bleak nights. A week later, a local business journal publishes an article praising Summit's success. CEO Connor Green overcame personal adversity to lead the company to record profits. They interviewed me briefly, focusing on professional angles. Quinn spots the piece, giggling at how they turned me into a stoic hero. Quinn, teasing. Stoic hero, huh? Next you'll star in an action movie. I roll my eyes good-naturedly. Yeah, let's not. I'm content with real life. A month passes quietly. Then one afternoon, I'm exiting a grocery store and see Lydia by coincidence in the parking lot. She's loading bags into a battered sedan. Our eyes meet. For a moment, we both freeze. Then she musters a tiny wave. I approach cautiously, mindful of the public setting. Me. Hi. She's wearing a worn coat, looking older, sadder. Hey, Connor. Doing some shopping? I glance at my bag of groceries. Yeah. Silence stretches. You doing okay? She shrugs. Better, I guess. Working a new job, still paying the restitution. Quinn has responded to a few messages. She's so grown up. I nod, unsure what to say. Finally, I manage. Keep abiding by the agreement. She'll decide her own pace. Her eyes flick downward. I know. I just want you to know I'm trying to be a better person. A wave of conflicting feelings surges in my chest. Good, I say softly. Take care. She steps back, nods, tears brimming. You too, Connor. We part ways, no drama, no meltdown. Just a quiet, bittersweet acknowledgement that we share a past, but no future. Time heals, even if scars remain. Quinn is now a senior, launching a local encryption startup with 2 coder friends. They operate from our garage, cluttered with servers and cables. I cheer them on, occasionally offering security insights. The restitution checks from Lydia arrive monthly, no delays. She's abiding. Quinn sometimes meets Lydia for short lunches, still guarded but less hostile. Felix is serving his sentence. He wrote Lydia a letter from prison, which she apparently shared with Quinn. Quinn told me it was an apology letter with a litany of excuses. She remains unimpressed. He's sorry he got caught, she said. I couldn't agree more. Me? I continue leading Summit Security to new heights. The board re-elected me as CEO with unwavering support. I find myself smiling more, not because everything's perfect, but because we overcame the worst. In rare, quiet moments, I reflect on the entire saga, from suspicion to confrontation, from heartbreak to redefined family bonds. We are living proof that betrayal can be survived and that fatherly love endures anything. Morning drive. Quinn blasts upbeat music in the car. We sing off-key, exchanging grins. She jokes that we're unstoppable. Weekend projects. We build a new bookshelf for her programming manuals. She laughs as we measure incorrectly twice, but keep at it. Occasional Lydia text. Quinn shows me a mild text from Lydia. Good luck with your startup. Proud of you. Quinn shrugs, saves it for a later reply. Simplicity in evenings. We watch movies, share inside jokes, order takeout. The tension that once gripped the house is replaced by comfortable acceptance of the past's lessons. On an ordinary Tuesday night, Quinn heads to bed early, exhausted from startup tasks. I remain in the living room, a mug of tea in hand. Light from the lamp casts soft shadows on the newly painted walls. My gaze wanders to the trophy on the mantel, a shining testament to Quinn's brilliance. Then it drifts to a small photo of us both at her coding competition, beaming wide. I think of Lydia, alone in her modest apartment, paying monthly restitution, living with her choices. That is revenge enough. I no longer crave vengeance. We found justice in the dissolution of our marriage on my terms. She lost the comfort, the illusions. I kept my dignity and Quinn's love. That is the real victory. A wave of calm envelops me. Slowly, I stand, flick off the lamp, and climb the stairs. Pausing at Quinn's bedroom door, I hear her light breathing. My heart warms with gratitude. We overcame Lydia's cheating and Felix's schemes, and we remain strong. Perhaps there are new chapters waiting for me. Maybe I'll date again. Maybe I'll keep forging forward alone. Either way, I am no longer the naive husband, nor the broken man suspecting betrayal. I am Connor Greenfather, CEO